Hello everyone! Welcome to Chud Watch. I hope you're having a wonderful... What day is today? Wednesday? I hope you're having a wonderful Wednesday, August 5th. Apparently Baja Blast wanted to explain something because someone asked a question or something.
People were asking what happened to my shoulder. So I have a thing called hypermobile Ehlers-Danlos syndrome, and it basically just means that my collagen is the consistency of chewed up bubble gum instead of like a rubber band like it should be. So it's really super easy for me to dislocate things, and I dislocated my shoulder in my sleep and woke up and moved and it relocated. Yeah, think about how I feel, Hannah. And so it's just really, really sore. All of the muscles are like super tight, and it's like really painful. So I'm just trying to like not use it, but it felt better when I woke up this morning, and it's just gonna keep getting better, hopefully.
Cool.
Cool.
The getting better part, not the
Yeah, instead
injury,
of
obviously.
So yesterday it was like a sharp, stabbing, cutting pain, and today it just feels like the entire shoulder is bruised. So I call that better. I wish I had been beating up chuds. I have actually dislocated my kneecap, like fully dislocated it where it had moved to the side of my leg, 3 times. The third one I needed surgery for, where they had to remove a chunk that had broken off of my patella, and they had to like shave it so that it was smooth and not like digging into my bones anymore. But all 3 of those times I was just doing really normal stuff. Once I was just standing and I went to take a step and my kneecap dislocated. That was the first time. I was in 8th grade. Then the second time I was walking into class. I wasn't running, I was literally just walking into class in high school. And then the third time I was stepping out of a car. Just stepping out of a car like normal, like any other human being would be stepping out of the car. And yeah, that one I had to have surgery for.
Thank you, Talon9390 and Laser Snail, for following. I appreciate that. Oh, thank you, Laser Snail, for subscribing with Twitch Prime, also. Appreciate that. So today, we're going to be taking a look at Mgtow people. We've looked at them before, but I think today we're going to be sort of zoning in on Mgtow people more specifically, and also maybe one angry gamer, because I want to take a look at him. Let me switch to this. Ooh, fancy transition. Let me turn the music off. So yeah, I got some Mgtow stuff pulled up. For those of you who don't know, do Mgtows qualify as chuds? I think so, yes. One angry gamer update. One angry gamer's this guy. He's mad about adult visual novels not being allowed on Steam or something, and something about Star Wars. I don't know. We have Better Bachelor. We have Black Pigeon Speaks. We have Terrence Pop, who is of course awful. And then I just searched Mgtow, and I figure we can do some random grab bag videos from just the newest Mgtow videos and see if we can find some smaller channels. So I hope you're all doing well today. I started Ghosts of Tsushima a little bit before this, so I'm just getting through the tutorial. So I hope you all appreciate me for doing this instead of playing the video game I want to play. When can we see more entitled Karen type videos? We could do that tomorrow if you want. We can do like a Karen stream. Or like Karen Sovereign Citizen stream. That game is dope as fuck. I've heard Ghost of Tsushima is good, so. Did I see a certain YouTuber made another Bree vid? Oh god, of course he did. Jeremy, please stop. Have I chosen my horse? No, I haven't even gotten that far yet. I just got out of the village where you wake up and after you get, like, mortally wounded. So, I'm very, very early on in the game. I only got to play about 10 minutes or so before I started the stream. So, that's what I'll be doing later after the stream is done. But of course, I'm going to spend some time with you lovely people. So, Slow X Mox Panda. Wish I could get a PS4 so I could play Last of Us series. That's riveting. PS4s are going to be really cheap soon because the PlayStation 5's coming out. So, keep an eye out. Or wait for the PS5 and, like, save up for it. I don't know, though. How's Baha feeling today? Yeah, she was just on. She's feeling a little better, but, you know, still in a lot of pain. It's getting better over time, though. Ghosts of Sushi Mom.
There's nothing funny about the
Nord Guy, thanks for continuing your subscription. 2-month streak. Very nice. Queers support queers. Rad. Yeah, I'm glad there's improvement, too. I'm glad she's feeling a little bit better. So, I don't know. Let's do gamer. Let's do one angry gamer first, and we'll see how it goes. Jorin offers adult Japanese games for English-speaking gamers. Gamers looking for adult gaming titles don't have many options, mostly because the entire industry, nay, the entire Western media, have turned against gamers. Oh no. This is Jim Crow for gamers, truly. Gamers. The most trodden upon class in America. There are incessant attacks on fan service. Anime is under siege, along with light novels and manga, as detailed in a piece by Sakura Anime News. Well, thankfully, there's one company out there that still cares about gamers, and it's Jorin. Because as we all know, since I came out as trans and I am, you know, a woman now, I can't be a gamer. However, apparently, my opinion that I don't want gratuitous nudity for no reason because gaming is an adult art form, like anything, like movies, like books, like whatever, and just gratuitous nudity isn't necessarily necessary in every product. It doesn't mean that it doesn't have a place in the medium, but expecting it everywhere is very silly. Shady Shroomy. We can get Honey Pop on stream. I don't know why he is upset. Most porn games aren't even worth buying. I don't think I've ever seen a porn game, so I guess I don't know what the gameplay is even. I assume many of them are like visual novels, but I'm not really familiar with visual novels as a genre, so. There are currently only a few free-to-play titles available, including X, Over, and Idle War. There's also a new school classic available on the platform in the form of Kamihime Project, which also available over Nutaku. Pickings are slim, if I'm being honest, though he was able to jerk off to it, so I guess it's enough to write a whole article. However, having another outlet in which to acquire Japanese H games is always welcome. You know, Pirate Bay exists if you want just porn. There's tons of porn. If there are porn games, you can probably find them on there. Dude Spanking Dude says, as a man of culture, porn enthusiast, there's plenty of spaces for porn. We are not being shot down, so I don't know what the fuck this guy is talking about. Nekopara is on Switch without lewds, but still. I assume those words mean something. I'm not familiar with that game, so. There's a ton of free porn games on Steam. Okay. I'm not familiar with the genre. They also have plans on rolling out over 100 premium games on the service, along with various free-to-play titles, including Magikami, which is due to release on August 18th this month. Other high-profile H games such as Taimanin Asagi Battle Arena will also debut on the service soon. Hopefully the games won't undergo any sort of alterations or content refitting to accommodate the prudes of the West, which has been happening a lot over Steam. I don't know what to tell you about Steam, man. They're a private platform. If they don't want pornography, that's like their right as a business. You don't have to like it, but like it is what it is. If you want your porn games, I'm sure you can find them somewhere. Let me switch to a different camera so I can look at this trailer without showing anime titties to you guys. Okay, it's like she's got like a demon coming out. Is she like a demon girl? Yeah, she's like a naked demon girl. Okay, I can get into that. Demon girl. Yeah, those are some anime titties. What the requirement or how to recommend videos, just put a link in the chat and I'll check it out. If I don't get to it today, I'll save it for another time. Let me look at the trailer for this one. Oh, this one looks lame. It's like still images that they're just like moving across the... I don't know. This looks like a turn-based RPG with big anime titties. But fine, if that's what you're into. Seems a little weird to me, but... do you, I guess. I just feel like having your big anime titties flop around during combat is like not great, like combat wise. I feel like strategically there are probably better ways to armor yourself in battle. Monster Girl Island Prologue is free on Steam. I have no interest in porn games, I'm gonna be honest. It's just, I don't know. It doesn't sound fun to me. Nearly every week a new Japanese, Korean, or Taiwanese game gets offered up for the service for one pretty reason or another. One petty reason or another, rather. If Jorin can provide gamers with a stable enough platform without the censorship, then that's fantastic. It's not censorship for Steam to decide what is and is not allowed on their platform. That's not censorship. Censorship is like when the government stops you from saying what you want to say.
There's nothing funny about the tools of capitalism.
WeBear18, thanks for subscribing. 3-month streak. WeBear18 says, as someone who plays those types of games on Steam, there are plenty. He has no reason to complain. Alright, well there you go. He's just bitching about an imaginary problem then. The free market is censoring my anime titties. Yeah, silly. Anyone who's been paying attention to what's been happening in the industry recognizes that gamers have been under attack by cultural imperialists known as social justice warriors. Yep. You not getting to watch your favorite anime titties over Steam is clearly the same as going into a country, subjugating the people who live there, and stealing their resources. Spot on comparison. Can I redeem my bingo win, Noodles Lolcat? Yes, you can. Let me get you up, Noodles Lolcat. Gift sub.
There's nothing funny about the tools of capitalism.
Let me just cross your name off on the list now that I got you.
There's nothing funny about the tools of capitalism.
Thank you, Byron Dion, for following, and Tetsuyo Dragneil with 5 bits. If you need to cleanse between all this nonsense, this is funny. Okay, let me click on some of these. Oh god, the quartering does this stupid shit. There you go, Noodles Lolcat. There's your sub. Congrats on the bingo win. For anyone who doesn't know, we do Tinfoil Tuesday bingo when we do conspiracy videos on Tuesdays, and whoever wins gets a sub. If Joe Hen is legitimate, sticks to simply providing gamers with adult-oriented content, and provides giving and avoids giving into the censorious machinations of the cultural Marxists trying to destroy the West, then it could be the blessing that weeb gamers have been asking for. I don't know about you guys, but I'm not a cultural Marxist. I am, however, a cultural tanky, so. Alright, let's see what the Star Wars article is, and then we can move on. I don't know if this will be chuddy, but anytime Star Wars gets mentioned from someone like this, usually there's a dig in there at, like, Kathleen Kennedy or something. Given that publishers and developers are gearing up to increase prices moving into the next generation of gaming, talk of $69.99 and $79.99 becoming the base price to purchase a new game is growing all the more prominent around the game industry. $79.99, no thank you, that's fucking ridiculous. $69.99, I already think the idea that they need to raise prices is untrue, considering the user install base for video games has never been higher. Like, they might be facing thinner margins on each individual sale, but they're making more sales. So this idea that, like, frankly, I think if you're going to have a shorter game, have a lower price. If you have a long, like, Skyrim game with hundreds and hundreds of hours and you want to, you know, make it $80, that's fine. But, like, on top of that, microtransactions and DLC, it's getting ridiculous. Like, you want me to spend $150, you know, dollars basically over the lifetime of a game with, you know, an $80 price tag, a season pass, microtransactions for cosmetics. It's stupid. Like, games should not cost, like, a quarter of what the system costs. However, EA, a company on the ever-growing Traders of America list. Oh, he's still going on about it. Fun. And Motive Studios are looking to ship Star Wars Squadrons at almost half the standard price come this October. I think Star Wars Squadrons looks fun. It's like, you know, it's a Star Wars, it's sort of like Star Wars X-Wing, Star Wars TIE Fighter, Star Wars Rogue Squadron, all those games. It's like a, you know, it's a space flight simulator battle game. The latest entry in the Defiled Star Wars video games, Defiled Star Wars video game series. Well, I agree that, like, the way that Star Wars Battlefront 2 shipped was, like, ridiculous and the loot boxes were stupid. If you played the game lately, because I got it on sale for like $5, it's pretty good. We also just recently had that single player game. I forgot what it was called. Hold on, let me look. Jedi Fallen Order. That was really good. They're making a new Lego Star Wars game, which I'm very excited for. Jedi Fallen Order is great, yeah. Where did I get it for $5? It was on sale on, like, the PlayStation Store for, like, $5 a while back. Players will find that it sports a single-player campaign and a multiplayer mode where 5 people can compete against 5 other players in air and space battles. The game is all about piloting crafts such as X-Wings, A-Wings, Y-Wings, TIE Fighters, TIE Bombers, and other iconic Star Wars ships. All of the above with the side of diversity will ship across PC and home consoles for $39.99 at launch, which gameplay footage showing off multiple titles sits below. Again, the fact that one of the characters is a black person, he has to be like, with a side of diversity. Dude, black people exist. What are you talking about? With a side of diversity. Oh, you mean like the real world that is diverse? Would you like me to artificially take everyone except white people out of this video game for no reason? I know the answer would be yes, but I don't know if he would admit it to my face. I think this looks good. I'm gonna get this when it comes out, by the way. Because I really like the, like, Rogue Squadron games.
Vanguard Squadron. Let's make history.
This is it, Titan Squadron. Everything we've done has led to this. Finish those Vanguard scum!
This is Star Wars Squadrons. Earn your wings in a single-player story spanning 2 factions.
All stations! Fire on that ship!
And master multiplayer
I like the idea of having an Empire storyline and a Rebellion storyline. I think that's cool.
battles as a squadron of 5, with the option to play the entire game in VR. This is the
Oh, it's in
definitive
VR
Star
too,
Wars
that's pretty cool.
pilot experience.
Come on, come on!
You'll begin your career in a single-player story,
Welcome to Titan Squadron.
where you'll play as 2 combat pilots, flying for both the Empire and the New Republic.
Oh, it's a New Republic storyline too, so it's gonna be like just post Return of the Jedi. That's pretty neat. So it's gonna kind of fill the gap between Return of the Jedi and The Force Awakens.
Experience this
The textures on the inside of this cockpit are amazing. Look at that. It looks like photorealistic.
world through your cockpit. The instrumentation in front of you provides critical feedback about power management, targeting, and shields. With a squadron of diverse characters at your side, prove your skills on increasingly challenging missions.
Hello, Vanguard. Welcome to the Nadiri dockyard.
One of my spies has linked the attacks with the New Republic Starhawk project.
Yeah, it's VR.
The
They already
story
said
of the
that.
2 pilots you play
Stick together.
will shape the balance of power in the galaxy.
Get ready!
Let him have it. To take the fight online, you'll need flight time with all 8 ships. Fighters are the most flexible and versatile, able to handle any situation. Interceptors are fast and highly maneuverable.
Let's get him.
Ideal for hunting down your opponent's starfighters.
That was kind of fun!
Support ships can keep allies safe and stocked up.
A
as well as
U-Wing.
disrupting enemy
I can't say I'm
fighters.
familiar with the U-Wing.
Nice.
Bombers are the heavy hitters.
Like,
able
I
to
know
deal
A-Wing,
devastating
Y-Wing,
damage to enemy
X-Wing, but I
flagships
don't
and
know about a
starfighters.
U-Wing.
If you've got a preferred component and need something customized, I'll take care of it.
Unlock everything you need to customize
Oh, yeah,
your
B-Wings
pilot and
too.
starfighters simply by playing the game. From cosmetics to an arsenal of over
It's a
50
little
components
bobblehead.
that alter how your ships fly, fight, and survive.
They're on you!
I'll deal with it.
You can dramatically change your loadout depending on your squadron's strategy.
Finally got him.
This will be critical in Star Wars Squadrons multiplayer modes. First up, dogfights. This is an all-out 5v5 battle.
Vanguard 5, that was the best!
Fine-tune your loadouts to work as a team.
Moving in on the enemy.
Utilize components like tractor beams, turrets, and mines to slow down your opponents or set up your
Deployable
squad
turrets
mates for
is
the
pretty
kill.
cool.
Rebels unmarked.
Is this
Teams
only in
looking for an
VR?
even
No, it's like a
greater
normal
challenge.
game, but
It's
it has
time to
VR
prove
support
yourself
if you'd
in
like to
Star
play it in
Wars
VR.
Squadron's signature mode, Fleet Battles. Fleet Battles are multi-stage conflicts. Whether playing solo or with friends, you'll have the option to compete against other players or AI as a squadron of 5.
Don't worry, I got him for you.
Meet your team in the social hub to solidify strategy, coordinate loadouts, and prepare for takeoff. First, push the front line by winning the dogfight in the center of the map. Next, attack or defend 2 medium-sized capital ships.
We've lost our capital ships.
And finally, the ultimate goal. Target and destroy the subsystems of your opponent's massive flagship and take it down.
Shields are disabled.
At each phase, your squadron either pushes the line forward or falls back to defend.
Keep our flagships safe.
It's your squadron's choice of how to play.
I'm hit!
Speedy, unrelenting assaults,
Stay together, strike quickly.
Stealth and subversion,
Jamming the enemy. Sensors can't spot you.
or brutal bombardment.
That ship is vulnerable. Take your shot.
We need to hurry.
A unified squadron is the key to victory.
Making my attack run now.
Let's make this count.
This is Star Wars Squadrons. Join the galaxy's finest and make your mark.
You are the hope of this galaxy.
Hold on, a flat earther that I've been talking to, I think. No, I already responded to that. A flat earther's commenting on some of my anti-flat earth videos and having to explain to them. Basically, they're like, pilots don't take curvature into account. And I'm like, yes, they do. Have you seen a flight path before? Have you noticed that they're all parabolic flight paths? That's because on a globe, if you project it onto a flat map, a straight line looks curved. So, just arguing with him about that. Okay, he continues, thanks to publication site MP First, Blake Jorgensen, who happens to be EA's chief operating officer and chief financial officer, explains the why behind the pricing story regarding Star Wars Squadrons during a recent investor relations call. The site kicked off an explanation process with Mario Liu, asking the CFO the following question. Mario Liu says, that's great, I haven't asked the second one yet. It's very helpful, Blake. So the second one is on Star Wars Dot. Can you provide some color behind the decision process regarding pricing Squadrons at $40 with no additional microtransactions? So I do think all games are not created equal, so overall I'm not surprised how the standard has been for $60 games in the last 15 years, so why go 40 all in? Not free to play or just in general. What are your thoughts on potentially pricing next-gen titles at a higher price point of 70 instead of 60? Blake Jorgensen says, yes, and I'll have Andrew just sort of help out with this as well, because it's important here for both of us. I mean, we always look at the top, the games, and we want to make sure we are providing the greatest value for our players, and games all have different scales. For most of our games right now have huge scale. We designed this game to really focus on what we heard from consumers, which is one of their greatest fantasies, that's able to fly an X-Wing fighter, fly fighter, and be in a dogfight. So it doesn't have to the breadth of some of our games, but it's still an incredible game, and so that's why we chose the price that it's at. Slightly lower level to also allow access to as many people as possible who had that Star Wars fantasy. And lastly, the game in question will launch for PC, Steam, Epic Games Store, Origins, PS4, and Xbox One on October 2nd. I think that's a good idea. I think the idea of pricing games in such a way that it makes it so if you have a more expensive development cycle, you can price it higher because you have more value, you know, for what's going into it. But if you just have like not even necessarily an indie game, but like a B game, you know, not a AAA game, like a AA game, maybe $50-$40, you know? And if you have like an indie games already do this sometimes, you know, like $20. I think that's reasonable. The idea that honestly every game is priced $60 is kind of weird, considering how variable games are in, you know, the amount of content that's in them. So BBC posted an article, what is the sovereign citizen movement? Excuse me? A growing movement of people who believe that laws do not apply to them threatens police and law enforcement around the world, experts and officials say. So-called sovereign citizens believe that they are immune from government rules and in some cases, including recently in Australia and the US, have violently confronted police. Coronavirus mitigation measures, including mandatory social distancing and mask wearing, may also be fueling the anti-government conspiracy, spreading its message to a global minority that view the deadly pandemic as a hoax. So who are sovereign citizens? The FBI has described the movement, which lacks any organizational structure, as, quote, domestic terrorism in the U.S. and calls followers, quote, anti-government extremists who believe that even though they physically reside in this country, they are separate or sovereign from the United States. The ideology hatched in the 70s and grew out of Posse Comitatus, Posse Comitatus. Any lawyers are probably like, what the fuck are you doing? I completely butchered that. But it looks like this. A U.S. anti-government group that contained many followers who were all anti-Semitic and believed governments were controlled by the Jews. Lovely. Of course, sovereign citizens started with neo-Nazis. What a fucking shock. Poses Comitatus. Nope, still can't do it well. It rose in prominence in the 1990s alongside the militia movement, says Mark Pitcavage, a researcher at the Anti-Defamation League who has followed the movement for over 20 years. In the late 90s, the ideology reached Canada through anti-tax groups before later going to Australia and then the UK and Ireland, says Mr. Pitcavage. In Australia, police this week attributed a dangerous rise in people resisting lockdown orders, sometimes violently, to the sovereign citizen movement. Victoria Chief Police Commissioner Shane Patton said on Tuesday that officers have been forced to smash the windows of cars and pull people out to provide details after they have refused to answer questions or show documents. Sovereign citizens and anti-government groups became familiar to the Americas in the 90s, but any sympathy the wider public may have had towards such movements evaporated after the horrific Oklahoma City attack. I don't know if anyone doesn't know about the Oklahoma City bombing. Basically, some anti-government shitbags blew the fuck out of this building in Oklahoma City in the late 90s. It was, prior to 9/11, I think, like, the worst terrorist attack on American soil in terms of, I think, casualty and overall destruction. I think it was Timothy McVeigh, I want to say was the name of the guy. Let me see. I might be confusing him for someone else. Oklahoma City bomber. Bomer. The Oklahoma City bombing was a domestic terrorist truck bombing of the Alfred P. Murray Federal Building in Oklahoma City, Oklahoma, United States on April 19, 1995, perpetuated by American terrorists Timothy McVeigh, no, I was right, and Terry Nichols. The bombing happened at 9:02 a.m. and killed at least 168 people, including many children, injured more than 680 others, and destroyed more than one-third of the building, which had to be demolished. The blast destroyed or damaged 324 other buildings within a 16-block radius, shattered glass in 258 nearby buildings, and destroyed or burned 86 cars, causing an estimated $652 million worth of damage. Local, state, federal, and worldwide agencies engaged in extensive rescue efforts in the wake of the bombing. They and the city received substantial donations from across the country. The Federal Emergency Management Agency, FEMA, activated 11 of its urban search and rescue task forces, consisting of 665 rescue workers who assisted in rescue and recovery operations until the September 11th attacks in 2001. The Oklahoma City bombing was the deadliest terror attack in the United States. It remains the deadliest act of terrorism in U.S. history. Crazy shit. Legit crazy shit. Now there are signs that their ideas are catching on again. The political climate is to blame, including emergency coronavirus measures and anti-police sentiment after the killing of George Floyd. I don't know about that one. I find that to be incredibly untrue. Most of these anti-police, like, I'm talking sovereign citizen people, are right-wing, not left-wing. Like, I can question police and their measures without saying that the police themselves are illegitimate and don't have authority over me. That's the problem. They do have authority over us, right? So we need to make sure that the rules and training that goes into policing are beneficial to the population and not creating cops that are going to murder people. So I completely disagree. I disagree with this sentiment. And also, even the emergency coronavirus measures, like, that might put the pressure on these people and get them to act out more, but people are not turning to this because of coronavirus. So I disagree with that. Their ideas travel. Ahaha, I see what you did there. When I covered an anti-lockdown protest in London in May, the first person I encountered was a man eager to tell me why the government had no legal power over him, but it's the US where the greatest potential victim violence lies, particularly as Americans get deeper into a pandemic and potentially fraught election campaign. In Singapore, a country known for adherence to rules, a viral video in May this year showed a 40-year-old woman refusing to don a face mask, telling people, "I'm a sovereign. This is something people are not going to know what it is." Quote, "It means I have nothing to do with the police. It means I have no contact with the police. They have no say over me," end quote, said the woman, who was later sent to a mental health facility. Well, that's good. I'm glad she's getting help. In the U.S., suspects of violent crimes, including a man accused of beheading his landlord in a rent dispute last week, have claimed to be immune from prosecution as sovereign citizens. A geek with a guitar 99, thanks for continuing your 3-month subscription streak. And a geek with a guitar 99 says, "Don't usually catch a stream live because time zones, but always catch up on your YouTube channel. Thanks for the quality lockdown entertainment." Well, thank you. Speaking of which, if anyone hasn't subscribed to my YouTube channel, we finally got over the 1,000 subscriber mark, which was my initial goal. My new goal is to get over 3,000 subscribers, so I will officially have more subscribers than Hans Wormhat. So, if you haven't, check out my YouTube and subscribe. One of the ideology's most famous adopters was Oklahoma City bombing conspirator Terry Nichols, who filed endless frivolous lawsuits against the government in the years before the '95 attack on a federal building, which killed 168 people. The sovereign citizen movement is different from the militia movement, which puts more emphasis on the paramilitary weapons training and organization, experts say. Sovereign citizens, which also go by many other names, including constitutionalists, common law citizens, free men, and non-resident aliens, favor legal arguments. Legal arguments. I would call it pseudo-legal arguments more than legal arguments. It also differs from the QAnon conspiracy theory, which believes President Donald Trump is saving the world from evil because sovereign citizens view all government figures, including Mr. Trump, as illegitimate. Interestingly, that's not the case. We've seen sovereign citizen literally pray to Trump in one video. So there is some crossover between QAnon people and sovereign citizens, even though those are contradictory viewpoints. Like, cognitive dissonance is a thing. People will have it. Like, these people can think, like, Donald Trump is, like, the good guy, and he's ousting all the bad police I don't like. What is this, a crossover episode? The general ideology is based on the belief that the original government set up by the U.S. founders, which most adherents refer to as common law, was slowly and secretly replaced by an illegitimate government sometime in the 1800s. Not the case. Followers around the world make similar claims about their own governments or British royal family, as is the case with Australia, says Mr. Pitcavage. They believe there is a legal way to opt out of the current legal system that comes through filing documents and ending what they view as contracts with the government, such as driving licenses and identity documents. None of that is true, of course. Adherents are told by redemption gurus that they can use phrases which they believe to have legal meaning to divorce themselves from the illegitimate government, says Mr. Pitcavage. They often print out and carry documents which they claim prove their status. I'm having mush mouth today. I'm having a lot of trouble getting my words out. And once you do that, once you have regained your sovereignty, none of the laws, rules, tax, court orders, anything of the legitimate de facto government have any more power or justification over you whatsoever. Followers resist all government laws and regulations, no matter how trivial, and in the U.S. often file lengthy legal battles against the government, which critics refer to as paper terrorism. They sometimes film encounters with the police using the phrases that they believe protect them, including, "Am I being detained?" They have occasionally set up, quote, common law courts and issued bogus arrest warrants for U.S. officials. Some have been arrested with fake car registration plates they have issued to themselves, or have even printed their own currency, believing the dollar to be invalid. Mr. Pitkavich says it's common to find European followers cite the U.S. criminal code, which has... Mr. Pitkavich says it's common, rather, to find European followers cite U.S. criminal code, which has no legal bearing there. This is what I don't get about the sovereign citizen types who believe that money isn't legitimate, and they think that, like, since the Federal Reserve came to exist, and we went off the gold standard, that money doesn't exist. What do you think money is? Because, like, the money I have in my wallet... or is linked to my bank account, which is not a gold standard currency. It's a fiat currency. It's what we have in the United States and many other countries. I can take that money and go to a store and buy goods with it. I can pay someone to do a service for me with that money. How is it illegitimate? I can go buy a Big Mac with it. You know what I mean? Like, what do you think money is, if not something that is commonly understood to be used to trade for goods and services? Seems odd to me. It's like they think currency is this religious thing that, like, there's some out in the ether, this idea of currency that's real, whatever that means, and we aren't following that standard, whatever it is, gold standard, silver standard, so it doesn't count. Like, no, money's just whatever we decide. Like, I think the origin of currency, started with, like, seashells, stuff like that. And in fact, some of the earliest coins were actually based on seashells. That's pretty neat. I've looked into it before. They mint, like, basically fake seashell coins. Very cool. And of course, that later turned into normal coinage and money as we understand it today. Paper money didn't come around until closer to the modern era because of manufacturing limitations and, of course, you know, making sure that you can't counterfeiting measures on paper money wasn't necessarily a thing back in the day, which is why coinage was such a thing. So, just seems odd to me. If you can take your money, go to the store, go to McDonald's and buy a hamburger with it, we're gonna call this the hamburger test. I'm gonna coin this right now. The hamburger test. If I can go down the street from me and buy a hamburger with the money that I have, then it is money. Because you can trade it for goods and services. It reminds me of that Simpsons gag. Hold on. Money can be used for goods and services. Simpsons. $20? I wanted a peanut.
Ow! Pointy! Ew, slimy. Oh, moving! Uh-huh! Aw, $20. I wanted a peanut. $20 can buy many peanuts. Explain how. Money can be exchanged for goods and services. Woohoo!
Like, yeah, that's it. Fuck it, we could call it the peanut test after that clip. Like, as long as you can exchange this money for goods and services, it's valid money. There you go. It's pretty simple. Some followers believe it is possible to access a secret government-held fund once they become sovereign. The IRS, which oversees federal tax payments in the U.S., says on its website the notion of a, quote, secret account assigned to each citizen is pure fantasy. This is true. Of course it's fantasy. not Ray Comfort. Kent Hovind believes in this. Kent Hovind is a bit of a sovereign citizen. I'd love to debate him on that. We had a bit of a tiff over our, we had a bit of a tiff, as it were, over our creationism debate that we had before, but I'd love to debate him on this sovereign citizen shit. That'd be fun. Some think that, quote, by filing a series of complex legal-sounding documents, the sovereign can tap into that secret treasury account for his own purposes. According to the Southern Poverty Law Center, which tracks extremist groups, followers are often struggling financially or are people who cannot tolerate government bureaucracy, says Mr. Pitcavage. The sovereign citizen movement, through its pseudo-legal theories and tactics, tells them who to blame. It's the illegitimate government. It's the illegitimate banking system. It's this and that, and then offers them a way out. Interesting article. Mostly stuff we already knew, but, like, hey, it is what it is, you know? Here we go. This is the flat earth guy I'm I'm talking to on my comments. Are you kidding me? Do you really think flights fly in curved lines? As your picture shows, the shortest distance between any 2 points is always a straight line. That works no matter what shape you're on. You're going to tell me these flights go out of their way to introduce a needless curve, which would both make the flight times longer and cause them to waste more fuel? That's insane. Also, consider we can view these flights, and yes, southern flights, on an azimuthal equidistant flat projection. They do work. Let's see, airlinebound.com. Oh, he's using the flat earth map. Hold on. Let me find a different one. Flight path tracker. Come on, show me ones outside. There we go. Where did the thing go? Oh, shit. Flat earthers, man. I really don't know what to do about them. Make him regret ever peeping the Gleason. I'm never going to convince him. You can't convince a flat earther because their belief isn't based in, like, evidence or logic. If it was, they wouldn't be flat earthers. Their belief is, like, entirely almost religious. They think that it's like a conspiracy theory. They think they're in on this secret, right? And they're special because of it, and they can't be convinced otherwise. So I can show him, you know, as many live flight things, but he's just going to claim that it's not the case and it's not real. It's frustrating. Flat earthers are still a thing? Oh yeah. I cover them regularly. Alright, let's get to some of this Mgtow stuff. Woman gets a TEDx talk to complain about men and dating. In what world could men do this? Oh, Christ, better Bachelor. First of all, let's be clear here. TED Talks are vetted. TED Talks are vetted by the organization. TED, right? Okay? TEDx Talks are a different animal altogether. Anyone with enough money can throw a TEDx event and invite whoever they want. TED just licenses their name out to people in order to do this. So if you ever see a TED Talk where you're like, oh, this seems a little weird, or like not particularly like, not that all TED Talks are scientific, but often they are, and they'll involve actual research and people who do research. But if you ever see one where you're like, oh, this is kind of weird and kind of woo-woo bullshit, take a closer look. It might be a TEDx talk.
Guys, welcome to Better Bachelor. This is Joker with a face for radio and a voice for print. Today I've done a...
They don't even vet TEDx talks. Can anyone talk at a TEDx conference? Hold on, let me look. TED versus TEDx. Nope, that's not what I want. What's the difference? Is there a Reddit thread on this? Okay. You should know, TEDx is not the same thing as TED. After watching an infuriatingly misinformed woman speak about health issues, I thought, wait, who allowed her to go speak at TED with no credentials? So be careful to note if it's TEDx when you watch a talk and take it with a grain of salt, because literally anyone can give a talk. Holy shit. That's bananas.
Kind of a life lesson story. I've done a news story about Ellen. And now I'm going to do a call-out video. And this is from a TED Talk on...
A TEDx talk. These are different things.
On a educated, very liberal female that wants people to stop telling her to get married or asking her when she's going to get married. And you know, I'm
going to turn my air on real quick.
I know I do so many of these videos and I say, well, I don't know, I just did something like this last week or 2 weeks ago. But there's so many of them out there and they're so entertaining. It's just there's something that I find humorous and entertaining about looking at somebody that is decidedly average at best, who wants everything, all the expectations. And it's one thing to say, oh, well, this is an article on such and such, and it's just a stupid website. How about a TED Talk?
The TEDx talk, there's different. The Chud doesn't look into things before he talks about them. I'm shocked, I tell you.
How about a woman that gets paid to show up at a TED Talk at a university to complain?
I don't know if TEDx talk people get paid.
About not finding Mr. Perfect. I mean, if can you imagine a guy getting up there and saying, okay, here's what I want from a woman. I want her to be thin, nice butt, big bobs, blonde or brunette, or great income. She has to look good in a bikini. She has to be able to pay her own way when we go on vacation. Can you ever in your mind envision a TED Talk where a guy is said, hey, would you come talk about this?
A TED Talk? No. A TEDx talk? If the organizers were chuddy, maybe. I don't know.
Never in a million years. But here we have a TED Talk where this woman gets to do this. And I'm going to show you. I'm not going to play the whole...
Let's see if what she says is even comparable to saying you want a lady with big tatas. I'm very curious if, like, her expectations are like, you know, be an adult, take care of yourself. All things like Mgtow people get really mad when women say that about men. That like, hey, you know, be able to clean your house and take care of yourself. Don't tell me what to do. Okay, like, do you.
Whole video. I'm not going to play you the whole video because she's not funny. It's really not that interesting, and I would not do that to you fellas. So here we go. You can see here, this is Erica Morin is her name, and I'm going to first read how TED Talk describes her, and you can see the image here. They say, have you ever met someone? Are you dating someone? Don't worry, you'll find someone. These are among the most common and despised expressions levied against young, unmarried women in today's society. Yes, isn't it horrible to have expectations of you to maybe not date a billion people and have a body count in the hundreds?
Dude, if someone doesn't want to get into a relationship, it's none of your fucking business. Who cares? Who cares? You're not in a relationship. As far as I know, you've been divorced, actually. I think you've mentioned it before. So what are you talking about? If someone wants to be single, or, like, just do hookups and have casual relationships with people, it's fine. It's none of your business. Jesus Christ.
And you just find a good guy and settle down. Oh, the horrors. Oh, how dare you.
It's almost like you shouldn't impose any sort of lifestyle onto anyone that they don't want. What a shock.
Oh, wait.
How dare you?
How dare you? So, despite personal and academic success, women in American culture continue to be considered incomplete without a ring on their finger. This is not true. I don't know who's telling you this, but any woman that says I'm loving myself and living my best life, notice that's not the best life, but and I'm living up to.
Do you understand that when people say that, it's with the implication that there is no objective best life? When someone says, I'm living my best life, or I'm going to try and live my best life, it's because everyone has different things that they like and want for themselves. That's what that means. Jesus.
My truths, not the truth, my truths. Brave, powerful women. Yay, girl. There's no shaming. There's no shaming that she does.
I mean, it would depend on who you say that to. If you say that to a group of younger people, everyone's probably going to be on the same page. You start saying that to someone over 45, you're going to start getting into people who are like, no, you should get married. You should, boomer shit.
Doesn't have a family. At least, I
Things are changing socially, obviously, with younger generations, millennials and Gen Z, who, understand that people shouldn't be forced into lifestyles that don't make them happy. People should do kind of what makes them happy and be able to pursue whatever lifestyle is best for them, and that's a good thing. But we still have sort of social expectations set up by previous generations that are still kind of a thing, There's still, I would think, the most predominant societal narratives that we tell,
I would be very surprised. She says, as a 31-year-old female, educated, independent, and accomplished, but not married, not engaged, and not even close. Say it with me, boys. It begins with an S, ends in a G. Shocking. Erica knows what it is to be seen as a failure according to traditional norms. She seeks to raise awareness about continuing pressures of marriage for young and slightly less young women in the United States. She promises not to deride marriage, but rather to share her thoughts and experiences as a single 30-something female dating in the 21st century. Her talk is sure to resonate with audience members of all genders and ages. Nope.
Yeah, it's got a lot of downvotes. I haven't heard the talk yet, so I have no idea what she says. It's a TEDx talk, so it could be good, it could be bad. That's kind of how TEDx talks tend to go. But it's also entirely possible a bunch of weird Mgtow people, because people like you have covered this. Although, obviously, in this video, you haven't covered it yet, but I'd imagine this video has probably been covered by some other Mgtow person, so it's possible people came here and downvoted it. I don't know. Could be a bad talk, though. It's TEDx.
I'd be surprised if it resonated with anybody. Well, let's see where I left off here. Filled with humor, no. Realism, nope. And hope, nope. Which is the suggestion that parents, relatives, peers, and friends just let fate run its course. Basically, she's not worried, so stop worrying for her. She doesn't need you to cheer her on or help her to find her man, even though she's not anywhere close to finding one.
She says she's not necessarily interested. What don't you understand about that? And yeah, pressure can come from parents for that kind of thing. Parents can want their kids to get married, even if it's something their kids don't necessarily want. That is a pressure that gets put on people, especially women in society. It gets put on men too, but I think it happens more often with women because women are often seen as, again in society, caregivers, mothers, wives, before seeing them as the people that they are, you know?
Now, I'm not, like I said, I'm not going to play through the whole thing. She's said she's 5'10", and
her and I are, she's taller than me by 4 inches.
I'm going to probably guess, and this is not to put her down. I'm just making a note of this. I'm not putting her down.
He's about to put her down.
For weighing probably 100 kilograms.
Oh, Jesus fucking Christ, dude. She looks fine. Not that it would matter either way. Fuck you.
Or 220 pounds. I'm not putting her down for that. Let me be clear about this. I'm not shaming her for that. But what I am saying is that if you fall into a certain category in dating, stop reaching for the stars, okay? And I know where I fall in the categories. I know where I lie. So my expectations of saying she's got to be a model, or she's got to be whatever. People would look at me and go, well, dude, you're not being realistic. But why doesn't anyone look at these women and say, you're not being realistic? Stop it. Just stop it. You're not going to be happy.
The talk is literally about how she doesn't necessarily want to find a guy. What are you talking about? I also find it so weird you're talking about her appearance. For one thing, she's pretty. She's pretty. But for another thing, like, if this were a dude talking, I very much doubt you would be talking about his appearance.
If you keep going this way. Let me pull forward here, and I'm going to show you the list. And the reason why I mention her height and her size is because here's her list. Here's her expectations. This, and she says this in the video. I'll leave the link down below if you want to watch it.
Oh no, it is going to be a bad TEDx talk, isn't it?
Here's her expectations. Now, she's 5'10", so she wants at least her height or taller, and she likes to wear heels.
Okay.
So if she wears 2-inch heels, she's looking for, say it with me, boys, 6 feet.
Okay.
Shocking, crazy talk. I can't believe a woman would want a 6-footer. So my future husband, tall, handsome. Here's her picture, by the way.
Okay. She's pretty.
That's her picture. Again, not putting her down, just saying, let's keep our dating expectations within reach, is all I'm saying. Handsome, smart, educated, athletic, outdoorsy, laid back, outgoing, honest, strong, good heart, sense of humor, hardworking, ambitious, sensitive, romantic, good listener, not a jerk, Yankees fan, likes hiking, political beliefs, wants a family, non-smoker, short hair, nice car, good income, has a boat, spousal, higher potential. In other words, maybe help her get a better job. That's your job as a husband.
What? What?
Good with computers, can fix cars.
Where the fuck did it say anything about helping you get a better job?
Recycles, able to build things, likes bad TV, knows plumbing, likes to cook, and confident.
So basically, it sounds like she has preferences on height, which is fine. People can have preferences. I don't really care. She wants someone who's handsome, which, by the way, doesn't mean some chisel-jawed model. I don't think this guy understands that handsome can mean different things to different people. And the rest are just, like, general being an adult stuff. Like, oh, being a good listener. Like, you know, a decent partner. Being honest. Having a good heart. A sense of humor. I think everyone wants this. Yankees fan, that seems a little tongue-in-cheek. But yeah, if she's interested in baseball, it would make sense for her to want someone who's also interested in baseball, wants a family. That makes sense. You should be on the same page as your partner in terms of whether or not you want to have kids. Non-smoker, that's very important to a lot of people, understandably, because smoking is a bad habit, makes people smell a little bit, you know, that kind of stuff. Good income, nice car, she wants someone who has a decent job, that's fine. No one says it's wrong to have standards, guy. I'm not gonna call you Joker, because I'll laugh my ass off if I do, so... I'm just gonna call you guy, okay? There's nothing wrong with having standards, and most of the things on this list are just typical adult stuff, you know? Smart, educated, knows plumbing, likes to cook, confident, can fix cars, good with computers, you know, basically being able to take care of yourself in your home. Like, these are not unreasonable, and she's also not saying, by the way, that she doesn't also know how to do these things. She may for some of them. I don't know. But, like, it's fine to have standards. No one said otherwise.
My favorite part of this is when somebody says, I want someone that's educated and someone that is hardworking and ambitious and has a nice car and a good income and a boat. All those things have to do with income potential.
Not necessarily having a boat. Well, it's not the cheapest thing in the world, depending on what kind of boat you get. It's achievable for most moderately middle-class people if you live somewhere like a lake, you know? You can get a pontoon boat that's not, like, the most expensive thing in the world. And also, I think that more lies on the side of, like, is outdoorsy. Wants to go out and do things, like on a lake or go camping, you know? That's where that falls for me, rather than some sort of income potential thing.
How many times do you ever see a profile for a guy that's like, she needs to be professional and hard work?
Jangles just debated Milo Yiannopoulos on Modern Day Debates. Oh boy.
Working and ambitious and own things and bring things to the relationship. I'll wait for it. What's that you say? I'm sorry? Never? No, because men have to provide for themselves. So why do we need to drag things? Here, I brought you stuff. Will you date me now? Come on. Give me a break.
Okay, then don't date this woman. I don't think she'd be into you anyway. She's looking for someone who's handsome and educated, so you're definitely out. That's mean. I shouldn't say that.
Okay, so she says, I did a search. So I went online and I typed in a lot of these words to see if I could find an image match. I did come across 1970s, early 1980s Chuck Norris. He apparently is the only man that meets all her needs. It was a close second to MacGyver.
This is just my opinion, but I don't think Chuck Norris, even in his prime, is attractive. I think Chuck Norris, well, he's, you know, a normal-looking guy. I don't know. This is just a preference thing. He's a little, ooh, I'm Chuck Norris. I'm manly. I got a beard, and I'm gonna spin kick you in the face. It's not the vibe that I find particularly attractive. Also, he's like a right-wing piece of shit, so that doesn't help either.
The 80s TV show, but he was not tall and attractive enough. So we're going to go with Chuck Norris is apparently the only person.
Roundhouse kick. Thank you. You know, the spinny kick.
This woman thinks that she deserves at 31 or 32.
What does it say about this guy that his closest cultural reference to a handsome man is Chuck Norris from, like, the 70s? Have you seen a movie in the last 15 years, guy? Chuck Norris doesn't even... Let's look at what Chuck Norris looks like today. Chuck Norris today. Speaking of Chuck Norris, we reviewed a movie by his son today on the Hannah and Jake channel. Maybe we'll watch a little bit of it later. Chuck Norris. This is what Chuck Norris looks like today. Now, and again, I'm not trying to... If you like Chuck Norris, that's awesome. Good for you. I didn't think Chuck Norris was attractive in his prime. Much less now, with all his skin falling off of his skull, you know? Thank you to Shady Shroomy with 25 bits. I looked up handsome men, and it was just for this video, alright? Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, he looks good for his age. You still just look like an old guy, though.
So she said, okay, and then I realized no one was meeting my criteria, so she drops her list down to this, and this is her list. My future husband.
Okay, so she's talking about the fact that she started with all these standards, and she's reduced them, right? Okay, that's also fine. Who cares? Cleanse. Hold on. Click on this for later. Cute bird. Cute.
Taller than me, which at least 5'11" or 6 foot, because she's 5'10". Shares political beliefs, which is fine. Smart, I'm okay with that. Ambitious. Ambitious for what? I'm ambitious to travel the world. Does that count? I'm ambitious to lose some weight and hit the gym a little bit more.
That would probably be fine. I think when you just say something as general as ambitious, basically you don't want someone who has no goals. Which is understandable. You want someone who has some sort of goal in their life, whether it's, you know, getting into shape, or improving their career, or just self-improvement in general, whatever. As long as you're someone who has, like, goals and you're working towards them, you're progressing as a human being, as opposed to just, you know, doing nothing. Like, that's fine.
Does that count? Or are we really quietly saying, makes good money?
No, she doesn't say that. There was a good money thing in the first one, like makes a good salary, and it's removed in this one. So ambitious just means you have ambition. Do you need me to look up the definition of ambitious, or can you do that on your own? I think that's something you can handle.
And a sense of humor. So that's what she narrows that down to. And then she goes, and here's the part, here's the actual audio. I want to play this part. Let me turn this up a little bit. Listen to what she says about the magazines pressuring her, or women like her, to get married and get in a relationship.
And what's worse is that everywhere I look in popular culture, especially in men's and women's magazines, I am bombarded by all sorts of messages pressuring me I need to get married and settle down.
Okay, so here's the magazines. I'm not going to read the women's side because I don't know anything about them. But here's supposedly the men's magazines telling women that they're pressuring them to settle down. Are you ready? For those of you not looking at the screen and listening as we go along. Men's Fitness, Men's Health, Esquire, GQ, Maxim, Sports Illustrated. Yes, I remember all the articles I've read in Sports Illustrated pressuring women to settle down and get married.
As long as you're a magazine that's probably supporting sort of the idea of the nuclear family, or having a stable relationship in marriage and having that be the only model for relationships that can work, yeah, it probably falls under. Like, Penthouse and Playboy, I've never read Penthouse. However, when I went to go to the barber when I was younger, they had Playboy magazines, and I did skim those and read the articles. I'm not even using that as a meme, but actually read the articles, which some of the Playboy articles are actually pretty well written. But still, yeah, they would support pretty traditional gender roles, and often there would be implications of, like, getting married. Even if, like, of course, the centerfolds and stuff are all about, like, look at this naked woman, a lot of it would be, like, talking about people's sexual experiences with their wives or girlfriends or whatever. So, like, that is a thing. I mean, it takes 5 seconds to think about that. Much less going on the women's side and looking at, like, Cosmo magazine. And, like, how much that stuff promotes, like, you know, like, it's like getting into a relationship so you can get married and lock that man down. Like, all sorts of weird, ridiculous social stuff, so she has a point.
There's nothing funny about the
Just because you can't think of a reason that these would be on the list doesn't mean that it doesn't have a reason, right? Devious Chillster with 25 bits. Also, advertisements in magazines like almost always have a nuclear family. No one is single in commercial land. True.
Now, I haven't read Maxim in a long time, and GQ and some of those others in Men's Health, because now they're basically written for women. Or
Playboy had its first transgender model in 2017. Oh, I didn't know that. I knew Sports Illustrated did in their like swimsuit issue, but I didn't know about the Playboy thing.
Not manly men. I'll just put it that way. But the bottom three, I don't even know if I'll get in trouble for saying these names, because who knows with YouTube. But apparently, Hustler, Penthouse, Playboy are all pressuring women to get married, according to her. Right, okay. I have a hard time believing that one. So then she goes on and she basically says, 24 things single people are tired of hearing. This and the bottom one is, don't turn into some crazy cat lady. And she even jokes, it's like, too late, I'm already a crazy cat lady.
Yeah. She's making fun of the fact that people stereotype women who are single and have cats, right? That's the joke? That it's stupid, that that's a stereotype? Like, if there's nothing wrong with being single and enjoying pets?
And she basically complains how she's tired of being asked, why aren't you married? Because she's such an incredible, wonderful catch.
What? That's not what she's saying. She's just tired of people asking why she isn't married. Why are you adding that at the end? Dude, she's just tired of people asking why she isn't married, as if that's the one goal she should be working towards in her life. Like she has nothing else going on. You're like literally doing almost the thing that she's complaining about. You're like, you're not married because you have, like, no, you're missing the entire point. You're missing the entire point by trying to ascribe reason to why she's single. She's single because she hasn't found someone she wants to be with, and it's none of your fucking business. That's the whole point. And you've missed it. Here's the point. Here's you. Geekiest Maximus, thanks for continuing your 2-month subscription streak. And says, keep fighting the good fight, Hannah. Thanks so much.
Now, I do have a hard time believing this. I'll just be honest with you, because again, I'm not saying she'd be a...
It literally even said on that page that TEDx is independently organized and not run by the TED organization.
Bad catch for the right guy. All right. Yeah, actually, I am saying that. Because she's...
Why?
She's... Anybody that is putting herself out there as female, educated, perpetually single, and I deserve all this stuff. Let's face it, she's probably part of the girl power league. But the reason why I made...
Oh no, she might be a dun 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 feminist. Again, dude, it's fine. She said she wanted someone who's smart. You're not in any danger, I assure you.
Made the thumbnail that I made tonight is because of the highest liked comment on this thread, if I can find it here. All right, here's the highest rated comments. Now, and here's something that's interesting. This has 4,500 downvotes. 4,500 downvotes and 1,000 likes. So apparently not many people are resonating with what she says.
It's probably a bunch of incels mad that she has standards she has personally about the height of the person she wants to be with. Hold on, let me switch this in case there's, like, naked pictures. I'm not allowed to show those. This is about the transgender model. Yep, I'm glad I did that. Please don't send me, like, scantily clad or almost naked women. That's TOS. Interesting, though.
And someone else may have done a video about this. I don't know, because there's a lot of responses on here that look like they're from guys going their own way channels. But Lucky Rover, #1. Dear women, and this is from...
I'd imagine many of it is. Like, it's fine for people to have standards. If they, like, if someone's like, I only want to date people 6 feet and up. That's fine. Who cares? That's someone's preference. I'm not going to tell them what to do. It's fine. And the same goes for basically anything else. If someone has some standard for themselves that they've set, and a preference, fine. I don't care. Like Joker, here's the thing. Oh god, I can't put Joker. I imagine, for instance, you mentioned this woman's weight multiple times. You probably have a standard for yourself that you wouldn't date someone above a certain weight or BMI or something. I don't know. And that's fine. I don't care what you personally choose in your partners. It's fine. Who the fuck cares? No one is obligated to be attracted to anyone else.
2 years ago.
Maybe stop reeing about it.
Dear women, we are much happier single. Enjoy the cats. I said that's a
But
good
I still
thumbnail.
like scantily clad pictures of women in private from us. I have Google, actually, so if I want to see naked individuals, I can find them on my own.
I'm going to do that for you. I'm going to read through I'm just going to rattle through a bunch of these so you guys can see how other men are coming around to this stuff. Brought to you by feminism. Someone else, I'm a pretty decent catch. Yes, on the end of a harpoon.
Gee, I wonder where all these commenters are coming from. Could it be angry incels and Mgtow people? What a shock.
Brutal. Someone else, she wonders why she's still single. Every man watching this knows exactly why she's single. And the next guy, you want a man to be taller than you. Men want their girls to weigh less than them. Got Joe Smith below that. This is one of the reasons guys going their own way is growing so fast.
Again, guys, what do you not understand? Her thing is agreeing with you. She's saying if you don't want to get married, if you don't want to have what would be traditionally considered like a normal family, like a nuclear family where you're married and you're with someone, whatever, that's fine. She's agreeing with you. It just seems like you're mad that she's agreeing with you while being a woman that you don't find attractive. It's maddening.
Next, men don't care about your education. They care about how you look. Next, she's 5'10" and wants the guy to be taller than her. That alone narrows it down to like 15% of the population, and we haven't even touched intelligence, looks, personality yet. Good luck then, LMAO. So, again, I'll leave the link down below, but these are just, it's like they hand it to us on a platter. And the reason why, this got sent to me by one of you viewers, and thank you for who sent it to me. And when I was talking to my mom because, as I said in my other video, my aunt passed away earlier today. And I was talking to my mom, and she every once in a while will say, talk about future and being alone, and aren't you worried about that? And again, it came up a little bit. I said,
so the exact thing that she's saying people shouldn't do. Are you about to agree with her? Again, it seems like her crime to you was agreeing with you by being a woman, while being a woman that doesn't make your pee-pee hard. Like, what?
I said I have a video. It's a 10-15 minute video for you to watch about an educated college graduate, intelligent, and watch this video and tell me what you think. And she watched it and she said, oh, okay, what's the point? I said, this is a vast majority of the women right now. And I said, I do not fit so many of her categories. When you make a list, let me go back to the list here. You guys don't need to see it, but I just want to go down and look at it. When the first thing on your list is tall, I'm done. That's it. And if
okay, then don't date that person. You don't seem into her anyway, so what's the problem? Everyone has different standards for themselves, and that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that.
If you want me to be taller than 5'10" or 5'11", that's like 80%, 85% of the guys. Wait a minute, 80% of the men eliminated right away. Yeah, exactly.
Okay, and if that's someone's standard, that's their right to have it.
Exactly. Handsome, smart, educated, athletic. And again, we look at the picture of Erica, and Erica is a decidedly average woman who has expectations of someone that is not decidedly average. And when you see this, look.
And she's allowed to have that view. She's allowed to have those standards. Her talk was not about, I can't get a man and I want a man. Her talk was, stop telling me to get married. I'll get married if I find someone that I want to be with for the rest of my life. and you're focusing on this. You're focusing on literally the opposite of the point of the talk. Like, she's saying, don't ask me why I'm not married. I don't care. And you're going, I'll tell you why you're not married. Like, did you miss the entirety of what she was saying? Did the words that came out of her mouth and go into your ears go right through and out the other side? Jesus. Thank you to, Gay and Anxious for following.
I know I can go out and get dates. I've had dates in the past. It was not that difficult. You can do it. So for the guys that come on and leave in the comments, you guys are just losers, or you're this or you're that, and you just can't, we can date. But when her expectations, when she doesn't meet my
I imagine you can go out on a date, but I imagine a good number of those first dates don't end with the promise of a second, specifically because you're kind of an awful person who clearly doesn't, respect women as human beings. So everyone, more or less, can get a date. That's not what dating's about, though, although it could be if that's just what you're into, is, one-offs. That's fine. But, I'm not impressed that you can get a date. I'd be more shocked if you can get multiple dates with the same woman as your personality reveals itself over time. I also feel like this is the kind of guy that on a first date is like, are you a feminist? I hate these feminists, all these women these days. That's not a warning light. That's like a whole explosion spelling out a cloud that says, run.
expectations, and many other guys' expectations. But her expectations are a guy that is way more impressive than 90% of the men out there. And when you see this time and time and time again, rational, reasonable men just say, I'm not even going to bother.
Rational and reasonable completely misunderstands the entire point of her talk. Again, like I said, this is the third time I'll make this joke. But it's not a joke, it's true. Smart was on her list, and good listener were on her list. Clearly you have failed on top of the height thing. So, it's fine. Neither of you are compatible. I'm glad you came to an understanding.
Like, this is just a waste of my time. I can get on an app and swipe on Tinder, and then I can go to Bumble, and then I can go to Coffee Meets Bagel, and then I can go to on and on and on and on and on, and swipe, and let's spend half an hour a day swiping, 40 minutes of swiping. Oh, hey, look, I got 3 matches this week because they slowed down and read a profile and they see, oh, he's 5'7" or 5'6" or 5'8", or he's a little bit heavier guy, or whatever, right? So you get those couple of matches. And then you guys know how it goes after this. You guys end up carrying, you're like, what is it, Sisyphus? Do I have that right? Who's the guy?
Sisyphus. The guy who, wait, are you thinking of the guy who holds up the world? Because that's Atlas. Sisyphus is the guy who pushes a boulder up a hill just for it to roll back down, and he has to push it up again in perpetuity. That's why the term, this is a Sisyphean task exists, because it's a monotonous, never-ending task, basically. Atlas is the guy who holds up the world in Greek mythology.
It says Sisyphus perpetually, the myth of Sisyphus, pushing the boulder continually up the hill.
Logarth is, saying an average, male height. Yeah, okay. And what about it?
Only to have it come back down. And you do this for eternity, pushing the boulder up and having it come back down the hill and pushing it up.
Which one's the guy who gets his guts eaten by an eagle? I think that's Prometheus, because he gave fire to the humans. So he's, in perpetual torment, having his liver eaten by, a crow or something.
That's what it's like. You're pushing it up, man, maybe I'll get a match. Oh, I got a match, and she ghosted me. And I'm carrying the conversation all by myself, and this is tiring, and she's really not showing any interest. And, dating coaches will tell you, oh, you just have to know how to talk to them.
Vulture.
Okay, whatever.
It's a vulture.
And then you come and you start, and then you give up for a little while, and then you're bottom, and you go, all right, let me try this again, and you push that boulder up the hill again.
I was thinking crow because I think, which is a completely different, like, canon in the first place, but Odin has, like, a raven, so I was having wires crossed on that one.
And like Sisyphus over and over and over again, and you never get anywhere. And when you do this for a week or a month or a year, what happens is the guy feels, and I know this because I was this guy at one point in time, the guy feels, hey, I got a lot of game. I'm pretty good at talking. You know, but when you're out in public, same thing. Like, it's just, why is it not clicking for me? This is why. Because Erica, who is decidedly average, wants a guy that is far superior than average.
And that's her right. People can have whatever standards they set for themselves in terms of their partners. It's fine. Who cares?
And the thing is that even average, you know, even slightly better than average guys or average guys don't want her. So again,
kind of weird that you're speaking for people that you don't represent, but all right.
She's looking up here, and the guys that are down here, she doesn't even see. And then when they see her, they're like, no. The two worlds will never meet. And so another feather in your cap. Another feather in your cap. Go to bed tonight, gentlemen. Feeling good about yourselves. Feeling attractive, handsome, muscular. Even if you're not, there's muscle in there somewhere.
So, empowerment for men, even if they don't look good. But fuck this woman in particular for agreeing with you while being someone you don't find attractive. Very reasonable. Not at all an emotional reaction. Lysias with 9 bits. Why is it not clicking for me? Is it because of my personality? No, the women are wrong.
Powerful, intelligent, because you're smart enough to get out of this game and keep focusing on yourself. This is what you're up against, guys.
See, you keep saying you're going to focus on yourself, but then you people, all you do is talk about women all day. Not only you, but everyone in your comment section, you know, and they watch videos like this all day, talking about women, constantly. So it doesn't seem like you're going your own way at all. It seems like you're just obsessing with women from afar, which appears to be what you've always done, so what's changed?
And I'm just going to keep, you know, once a week, twice a week, depending on what videos come across I'm going to keep putting this out there. And so all the guys that keep saying, oh, I just got to get out there and do it. Here's another decidedly average 5, looking for a 9, and there's nothing in between. Guys, if you'd like to support my work, links are below as always. If you have, thank you very much. And the best way you can support me is like, comment, share, subscribe, and check out my older videos. Lots of fun stuff out there as well. Locals, betterbachelor.locals.com. I've got my forums going over as of right now.
Okay. As a cleanse, let's watch, Jesus, a little bit of the video that we put out today on Hannah and Jake. Amerigeddon, a strange doomsday prepper fantasy. It's a movie review that we did.
The reason I'm here today is to encourage the U.S. Congress to take action to protect our country from its most imminent threat.
I edited this one, fun fact.
The internet would go down, and
I usually edit the movie reviews.
The smokescreen of national security used by government at every level.
A strong America is the only thing standing in the way. Country only needs a little chaos.
We have a fog that has descended on our entire nation.
Hello, Mr. President. Now is the time.
The average American family only has 3 days of food.
We need to talk face to face. This is important.
Sir, what's the mission? Disarm the population and restore order.
I should do editing streams.
Inside your home,
oh, God, I don't know about
you
that.
have to give the president power to arrest any American by simply accusing them of terrorism.
I don't know how interesting that would be.
Will quickly fade. These
How long
are
does
the
it take to edit this stuff? This one probably
world.
took... Let me try and add it up in my head. 6, 7 hours altogether with the different days I worked on it.
I'm just so afraid of the world that you're gonna have to grow up in.
This is a time, man, woman, young or old, when folks run and hide, or they pull up their bootstraps and they fight.
When you sell your soul, it's a one-time thing. There's no going back.
Hello everyone, I'm Hannah.
I'm Jake, and I got a banana.
My least favorite part about editing is looking and hearing myself. Looking at and hearing myself. Fun fact.
Banana on a hat.
Is that from a thing that you're doing on the stream, or is it just a banana? I can never tell when you're doing bits.
It's not a bit. That's just I wanted a banana, so I got one. And then I was like, oh, I'm too full to eat my banana fruit. And then I had a hat, and so I put the banana on it.
Okay. In fairness, you do have food-based bits. It's just typically corn, but they're both yellow, so I don't know. It could be your MO. Maybe yellow fruits are your thing.
Well, the hat is a butter hat. It's a stick of butter.
Okay.
So it's not far off. Anyway, yeah, no, it wasn't a bit. It was just banana on a hat. I thought we'd start with some wholesome weird before we got into the sad weird that is Amerigeddon, which is the movie that we watched.
Oh God!
And that I put off for way too long, but I decided it's my duty to do our job. So that was my fault, by the way. I got swept up in a whole bunch of other shit. But Amerigeddon is here.
Is it a dysphoria thing? Yeah, because like I can hear my voice and how it's like not. I don't have the most masculine voice in the world, but it's not very feminine either. It's definitely deeper than I'd like it to be, so.
I regret not putting it off longer.
Thank you everyone who, by the way, the other day, the reason we're watching Amerigeddon is because I asked, what movie should we watch next, folks? And about, where did the corn thing come from? You'd have to ask Jake. I'm not entirely sure where his corn meme thing came from. You know, a dozen people all independently said Amerigeddon. Can I do a reaction to this VOD next stream to make it more confusing? Every day, just keep looking at the previous day's VOD of me looking at this. Yeah. Good. So I don't know if someone else did a review of this, so people are, like, aware of it, or if they're just like, holy shit, Alex Jones is in this movie for 5 seconds. This is crazy.
Don't think, Mr. Gray, that we don't know what you're up to. Stockpiling food, weapons, fuel. The National Defense Authorization Act is there to stop domestic terrorist threats to this country and people like you.
But either way, thank you to everyone who recommended Amerigeddon, because that was a bad cut. I added accidentally an extra frame of the next cut. Like see, you can see it. Oh, just for a second, you saw him stand up.
Terrorist threats to this country and people like you.
Ah, I should have cut right there, right before this frame got in. But either way, god damn it. Good job, me. Thank you to everyone who recommended Amerigeddon, because this is one of the few movies that I think if you're a fan of so bad it's good movies, maybe check it out! This is a little sped up. If you ever notice in our movie reviews, sometimes stuff is a little fast or sped up. It's to make sure it gets through the bots, more or less. If you put like normal speed footage, sometimes it'll get caught up by like YouTube's copyright filter, despite the fact that of course this falls under fair use because we're reviewing the movie. So it's just easier to speed up the footage sometimes a little bit and not have to deal with it. I had no copyright issues on this video, surprisingly enough. This is like an editor's commentary.
About the tools of capitalism.
Cupcake Chaos, thanks for gifting a tier 1 sub. It's got some moments. It's got some moments.
I remember we talked about it. It came out in 2016, and we talked about doing this. It was like on our short list, and then we just didn't end up getting around to it. 2016 was a weird year anyway for everybody.
Jake took like an extra week to watch the movie than we expected, and then I took like an extra 4 or 5 days to edit it. So that's why stuff that we do takes so long, by the way, because we both put things off.
A little bit. And I gotta say, the cast, it's like all the people from... It's kind of like...
Random guy 2324 Real says, I'm disappointed Nick Fury didn't show up to recruit militia Joan Hart after the credits. Yeah, the fact that we didn't come up with militia Joan Hart is depressing. I think we're losing it in our old age.
A high school reunion?
Is that why everything is mirrored in the video? Yeah, same reason. It's all for copyright reasons. Same thing with the like TV filter you put over it, or I put over it rather. If you notice during the clips, it's like there's these scan lines. It's for stylization, so you know when the clips are coming in. It's obvious in this case, but like, you know, I think it makes sense, but also it helps with the copyright protection.
For all the movies we've ever done.
I did say Militia Pixie Dream Girl, which is okay, but I didn't say Militia Joan Hart, which is like way funnier and much more clever.
And some that we just enjoy that aren't part of this. So
okay, Sushi Bomb 10. Sorry your internet's out. That sucks.
Did you notice? I'm just going to do a little cast thing real quick, and then we can actually get into the movie. Because it was so weird, because the cast... I know for a fact I've seen that main kid in something recently that we did. I don't know what he was from.
The soldier?
Yeah, the soldier.
Consider all armed a target. I don't know, Lieutenant. This is like...
Like, not only do you have these fake scan lines that get put on via just like an effect in our editing program, but then if you notice in the corners, very slightly, the corners are blacked out. That's a separate effect that goes on top of it, too.
Training in America. I know. Let me remind you, the Boston Bombers were U.S. citizens.
I don't know what he was from, but he looks very familiar. Unless he's just insert white guy with that haircut and make a Christian movie, maybe that's it.
We won't watch this whole thing, by the way. I know this is very long. I just wanted to do a little bit.
Do you recognize...
Give me a break from the chuds, and then we'll get back to it.
The woman that hangs out with the old prepper. Did you recognize her?
The lady who's an alcoholic, clearly, because she just like downs moonshine.
Okay, no, not the Zooey Deschanel with an M16.
Sam, now what have you done?
Oh, you know me. Can't keep a match out of my
hands. Is what to avoid copyright? Which
pretty
thing?
much anyone. It's gonna be my chemistry degree that kills me.
No.
Corner thing.
The older woman that has like kids. I mean, older woman. She's like in her 40s or 50s. Maybe probably not 50s. She has red hair. Her name, her real name, her
the effects
name,
are all
her real name in real life is Dina something.
I recognize her from Starship Troopers.
Starship Troopers! It's Starship Troopers! I know! I've seen her titties, so that's weird. And so if you've seen Starship Troopers, so I didn't expect.
Have a good night,
expect
geek
that.
with the
They're
guitar.
fine. I mean, you've seen a pair, you've seen most of them. But I actually really liked her in Starship Troopers. I actually watched that not too long ago. I enjoy that movie. Starship Troopers is very funny. This is the opposite of Starship Troopers. Starship Troopers is making fun of fascist right-wing Second Amendment nutjobs.
Something given has no value. Look, when you vote, you are exercising political authority. You're using force. And force, my friends, is violence. The supreme authority from which all other authority is derived.
And this is just celebrating it, which is strange.
If you haven't seen Starship Troopers, check it out. The sequels aren't very good, but the first one's good. It's a Paul Verhoeven movie, the same guy that did RoboCop. Are we sure America get to the exercise clip?
Part of the UN.
No.
Bear witness first.
What is in my...
Intentions with you.
Yeah. Chuck on, yeah.
By the so
thing.
60 seconds. Hi, I'm Chuck Norris. The folks at Total Gym have asked me to take 60 seconds to tell you why I use the Total Gym. Well, I use it because it works. Well, that wasn't 60 seconds.
Remember the Gazelle, or was that other guy, that Tony guy with the long hair?
Hey, you know the Gazelle can help your love life?
No, I didn't know. How?
Another thing, let's talk about quality.
Okay.
Slow down. Don't get afraid now. I'm going to put my foot underneath your heel, okay? And we can do that. This is why I have such a great job, folks.
I put that zoom in there. You can say all you want. Digital zooms for comedic effect are overused on YouTube. But boy, You just can't
And we can do that.
resist.
This is why I have such a great job, folks.
I don't remember. It was some sort of it blasted something. I don't know if it was your abs, but maybe it definitely did some blasting.
Alex Jones, whether or not
an actor,
he may be. Yeah. Alex Jones may be.
All the pills, the shots, the scans, the probes, everything. I still got cancer. It's not going anywhere.
And this never comes up again.
No, it doesn't.
It never comes up in the rest of the movie. It's just so this.
You know what? I've seen
something in. Okay, that's enough of watching my own stuff. Jesus Christ. I do want to show you the video I got that clip from, because holy shit, it's uncomfortable.
Yes. You know the gazelle can help your love life?
No, I didn't know. How?
Another thing, let's talk about quality.
Okay.
Slow down. Don't get afraid now. I'm going to put my foot underneath your heel, okay? And we can do that. This is why I have such a great job, folks. Because I can do, what I'm trying to show people.
Am I gay? I'm bisexual and I'm trans.
Well, I'm about 200 pounds, you're about 250. No, I'm only kidding, of course. But the quality. Now, as we're doing this, if we be quiet for a second, do you hear any noise?
Zero.
Zero. So it even shows you it's more quality. So they're getting a quality piece of equipment that is, let me explain, total body. All right, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. It's your heart, it's your lungs, it's all your muscles, it's your mental attitude, it's your metabolism.
Oh, there we go. I don't know why you guys... I just gotta ask. Oh, did you already get banned? Thank you, mods. You got to that quicker than me. I gotta ask the transphobes. You shoot your shot. You get one transphobic comment before you obviously get banned. And it's never creative. You gotta do better than that, friend. You gotta try harder to troll.
It is everything all in one versus just doing abs, okay? Which means you'd still have a big butt, okay? So ready? Let's go! Come! Woo!
You didn't know I was bi? I came out as bi before I came out as trans, actually, so.
Whole body. This is whole body movement. Oh, I'm working the inside of my thighs. I'm working my buttocks. If I lean forward, I'm working my chest. I'm working my triceps. I'm working the back of my calves. And I'm working my heart, and I'm working my lungs.
Right.
And if I want to work, say I want to do just my hip flexors or my buttocks even more,
right?
I do what's called digging. Look at the range of motion. Now, I use this for a lot of swimwear models. Very, very one-on-one. Come on, push it.
My grandparents had a gazelle. Alright, I gotta get back to the incel Mgtow stuff. Sorry, I'm getting way off track today. This is barely Chud Watch so far. Stop obsessing over hot women, but of course he pronounces it Hwamen, again, because the right-wing Mgtow sense of humor comes down to mispronouncing words.
Hi everyone, SaneMain here. This video is brought to you by a donation from Samnang. He didn't send me a specific topic, so I thought I'd discuss a Reddit post I found recently called, "Why Don't Men Truly Go Their Own Way?" This is one of the main things that people criticize me as well as many other Mgtow content producers.
Yes, all you guys do is talk about women all the time. It's like all you do. You're not going your own way. You're men obsessing about women from a distance on the internet. Very strange.
They say that, well, if you're going your own way, then go already, and stop talking about women. The person that posted on Reddit wasn't the most eloquent of people, but here's my translation of his comments, and I quote, "My word."
Noodle slow can't. Sorry.
My name is.
Yeah, I have that one queued up too. It's over here. Yeah, I already have it.
Word. Harumph I say. I faced the quandary where people say you're not truly going your own way by being on the Mgtow subreddit and speaking negatively about women. This is a perfect example of magical thinking by women and simps. We men need to gather here to vent our frustrations and post our memes. Number one, we are social animals, so we look for places to communicate with like-minded males.
Right, like you can communicate and be social, but it's weird that you spend all your time talking about women. Like, if there was like a forum, for instance, for single women who wanted to get together and just talk about, being single and other stuff. I feel like the forum would probably talk about, like, their hobbies and, the things they're into, their newest, like, maybe knitting project, if you're someone who's into that, or crocheting or something. I don't think the entire forum would be full of them talking about nothing but men constantly. Just seems odd, right? Like, no one's saying you can't be single. That's great. If you've decided that you can live your best life by being single and not engaging in any sort of relationship, great. Good for you. I'm happy. It just seems odd to then spend all your free time obsessing over, like, the thing that you've said that you're going your own way from. Makes no sense.
Number 2, going your own way and posting on this subreddit aren't mutually exclusive, and in fact at the moment they go hand in hand. In reality, they don't want us to post here because it's
Why is this in, like, Japanese or something? Hold on. Weird. Why is it in Japanese?
inconvenient to their worldviews, and they don't like it, so they keep crying about, Mgtow, they need to stop obsessing over women.
I mean, it'd be good. It would make more sense. You're not really Mgtow. I mean, don't get me wrong, all Mgtow people are like this, so it is that. But, like, why do you call yourselves men going your own way when you're not going your own way? It's men who huddle on the internet and whine about women constantly. Seems odd.
Wow. Well, Sam Nang, thanks for your last donation, and thank you INDMG for your words. I'll get to my thoughts about telling men to stop talking about women in just a moment. But let me first tell everyone about today's sponsor, Surviving Fourth Wave Feminism. There's a war on the West being waged by purple-haired ladies with orange man rabies. Let Dr. Be Real tell you all about the feminist deal in his book called Surviving Fourth Wave Feminism.
Oh no! Wait, why do you even... Is it something you have to survive? You don't engage with women. You're Mgtow, right? So why is that something you'd have to survive? For one thing. Trying to say you need to survive any sort of feminism is fucking hilarious. I'm imagining, men in the 1920s in America, or the 1910s, because women voting was ratified in 1920, being like, survive first wave feminism. They're gonna get to vote, and then the world's gonna end. People literally did think this shit. Hold on, let's take a look at some early 20th century Mgtow people, sort of the predecessors. Anti-first wave feminism propaganda. At the suffragette meetings, you can hear some of the plain things and see them too. So basically, it's them being like, oh, suffragettes, you're ugly. Mgtow type people haven't really changed their humor in the past 100 years. What will men wear when women wear pants? I mean, you can wear pants if you want. If you want to wear a skirt, go for it. I want to vote, but my wife won't let me. If we let the women vote, they won't let us vote. How does that work? How the fuck would that work? So we have suffragettes and then George Washington being like, did I save my country for this? I don't really give a fuck what George Washington would think about suffrage for women. Or for people of color, for that matter. I don't really care. George Washington owned slaves. The guy didn't have perfect opinions on everything. Jesus Christ. That's what I would do with the suffragette. So it's literally like, feminists, I'm gonna lock you in a box and ship you off somewhere. Very thoughtful commentary there. There's just some, suffragettes. What I would do with the suffragettes, literally, like, chaining them to a chair and vicing their mouths shut. Let's see, what else? Taking it out on hubby. I tell you, we will have votes, you big, massive brute. Votes for women. The woman at home. Oh no, a citizen of the United States wants the right to vote? Can't have that. Origin and development of a suffragette. This again shows, I think, the same, like, anti-feminist rhetoric of today and how it hasn't really changed in the last 100 years. At 15, a little pet. At 20, a little coquette. At 40, not married yet. At 50, a suffragette. All these women who want to be able to vote and take part in democracy, they must just be ugly and unmarried. Jesus Christ. Anti-feminists have not changed at all. It's just bonkers. Here's more of that same fucking rhetoric, the same propaganda. America when feminized. Surprised we don't come across one that's like, all these suffragettes are going to force me to eat soy. Why, Ma? These eggs will all get cold. Sit on them yourself, old man. My country calls me. I stan this chicken. I stan this fucking chicken. Headquarters opposed to women's suffrage. Lovely. Anti-feminist rhetoric hasn't changed that much in the past 100 years. Which means, probably, in 100 years or so, when we're on, like, 9th wave feminism, whatever that would entail, there's still gonna be, you know, people on the moon going, "Ree!" All these women getting the space vote. I don't know.
It's full of red pill truth bombs discussing the downfall of our society. The left and women are in bed together, and men aren't invited. Don't be
Communism for women only. Nope. The hammer of socialism is unisex.
a male feminist. Get your copy today. It's free with the Kindle app. Amazon's sponsor link is down below. Anyways, now back to the video. The best thing to say when people ask you why you're going your own way but still discussing women is to say, why do alcoholics go to AA meetings?
Yeah, those things are the same thing. Clearly, women, you know, 51% of the human population, are exactly the same as an inanimate object you have an addiction to. Good job.
If they aren't interested in alcohol anymore, why do they have to talk about it all the time?
Fun fact, people in AA, their rates of going back to alcohol are the same as people who aren't in a program like that. 12-stepping doesn't fucking work. Let me put it in a different way. It might work for some people, but there's no evidence that suggests 12-step programs are universally good for everyone and have a higher rate of success than other methods that don't involve religious bullshit, right?
The answer, of course, is for emotional support. To know they aren't the only ones dealing with the drinking habit, or in the case of Mgtow, drinking period blood Kool-Aid habit from a warm and cozy cooch. Of course, we all know that women don't care about the answer, either rational or not.
I mean, it's not really a rational answer. You're comparing things that aren't the same. You're also implying you're addicted to women, which is a little weird. Like, women are just, like, a little over half the population. You can't really be addicted to a kind of human being.
They're trying to plant the seed in our heads that, yes, we should stop consuming Mgtow content, and we should stop talking about women. This plays into their pudgy little fingers.
Again, same as the 100 years ago, people. Women only want rights because they're fat. What?
Because if we stop discussing female nature, then less new guys will hear about our tales of female betrayal.
Fewer. The word you're looking for is fewer, not less.
And more women will continue to have access to their very own plantation slaves.
Relationships are the same as slavery. This is not a ridiculous comparison at all.
It's an information war, and each man is part of the network effect. The more men discuss female nature, the more valuable the philosophy becomes, because more men than ever hear about it. The powers that be know this, so no wonder our content gets banned and throttled down.
No, it's because it's, like, weird and obsessive and hateful. That's why, right? Same reason, like, racist comments or racist content gets removed. It's, like, volatile and toxic towards entire groups of people. It's not evidenced. It's not logical. It's just, like, really bitter. So it gets taken down. That's gonna happen.
The less of us there are talking, the less value our words have. Another thing about no longer discussing women and just focusing on your own life is that that's the type of behavior that attracts women in the first place. A man that's more into himself and doing what he wants, regardless of if he's a narcissist or not, means that he's going to attract more women to himself. Talking about general female behavior is like a cross made of garlic to a vampire. They lose their minds when you talk about them to boot. Plus, when a woman gets upset about...
I mean, people often get upset when you try and paint entire swaths of the population with one particular brush. That's stereotyping. When you try and say, all women do this, all women do that. Like, it's ridiculous. Women are like 51% of the population. There's like 4 billion women on this planet. You can't just say they all do one thing or all do another thing or all one way or all another way. It would be like me saying all men are like this, all men are like that. It would be ridiculous. You can't do that.
About it, for many of us, it has an influence on our subconscious. We want to make women happy by nature. And if a woman gets upset that we're talking about women, then she might trigger that urge in us to protect her and do what she wants us to do. Women are trying to use their psychological tricks, and they work to some extent on men that haven't heard enough of this type of content.
That's your conscience, friendo, telling you that what you're doing is bad. That's not women.
I don't know if you've passed that threshold or not, or if you might just fold like a cheap suitcase, you go back to blue pills and you go take your new wife over the threshold. Also, whenever I make these types of videos, I like to bring in the voices from the peanut gallery on Reddit. So here are just what some of the people on there said with regards to the opinions the guys posted, and these are the ones that sum things up the best. The comments include things like, women don't like their actions exposed, or that women are the inventors of cancel culture. Which is true because they like to gossip and to ostracize.
Do you remember in the early 2000s when the Dixie Chicks spoke out against the Iraq War? And conservatives were like, the Dixie Chicks are canceled! That wasn't women. That was conservatives.
And isolate you from the rest of society. And your social circle if they don't like you for whatever reason. One guy says that notice how no one bats an eye when a woman talks about men. All day, every day, worldwide. Yet a few dudes post some truths, and it's the march of the incels. Church shoot.
It's because it's not truth. It's a bunch of lies that you're telling yourself about. Inflammatory, ridiculous statements that you all circle jerk over in order to inflame your hatred of women. It's very bizarre.
There's everywhere. End time apocalypse. That's how you know that going your own way is correct. Because only in a world this crappy could people be so blind. Also, if we don't talk about women, one guy says,
we know we're correct because most people don't agree with us. Weird flex, but okay.
That our human instinct draws us back to women if we don't get reminders of how bad they are. That's why I started daily content production to remind myself and others to take red pills to prevent you and me from getting wed. One user named Some Evil White Men says to look around at what feminists do. They don't want men to have spaces where they can talk to each other.
You can have whatever space you want to talk to other men, but if you spend all your time, and I mean literally every video you post is like this, and it's about women, and you just spend the time talking about how much you hate women, and how you think they're all sluts, and how you think they're all like these awful, conniving human beings who enslave men, yeah, people are gonna poke their heads in and go, what are you talking about in here? Seems, dangerous and inflammatory that you're trying to demonize like half the population. Seems a little odd, especially considering we have known cases of like weird incel Mgtow types shooting up public places because of this ideology.
Even the freaking Boy Scouts have some girls hanging around with them nowadays. That, of course, has been true since the beginning of time and throughout much of human history. Women feel compelled to be the glue that keeps all of socialization together. If they don't like you as an individual man and what you have to say in traditionally matriarchal societies, they would then deny you the right to...
Traditionally matriarchal societies. I'd love to hear an example of some traditionally matriarchal societies. I actually saw an interesting little video on one once. It was this small community, this small tribal community that was actually matriarchal. It's a rarity in human culture. It really is.
Procreation and cut you off from all the other men out there. This could also be the very reason why so many men get along perfectly as loners or all alone. Because many men snuck back into the village and knocked up the Cro-Magnon Chad's Virgin of Wilma by giving her the old bam bam, and then over many generations of the same sneak and smash strategy, a lot of guys learn to be more emotionally independent from women. I'm just saying, it's a theory. As for the general mood in the subreddit, many guys...
But that's just a theory. A Mgtow theory. Rising Phoenix 13 with 100 bits. I find it incredibly hilarious that Mgtow, MRA, PUA, Sphere keep using a trans analogy for themselves. Yeah, red pill, very much so.
I say that men need a place to vent about women with other men. And we need a place where we won't be swarmed by women and soy-guzzling white knights. People are surprised that the subreddit...
Unironic soy boy mention. That's nice.
Has lasted
we need to get some Mgtow bingo at some point.
And it's nearly impossible to...
Cotton Candy 903. Many Native American cultures maintain a matriarchal society. It's interesting. I didn't know that.
...to find using Google search results, and it's showing us just how triggered people are at the mere existence of Mgtow. Besides this subreddit, it's a shame that many Mgtow forums have died over the years once...
Ask Compu with a bit. Just got back from destroying my fucked up body in an attempt to get some groceries. What did I miss? Just weird Mgtow stuff. And again, Sandman. If you just wanted to say, I'm a man going my own way. I'm not going to get in a relationship. I'm just going to be single the rest of my life because that's what makes me happy. That's great. No one cares. However, if then you spend all your time on the internet talking about how much you hate women and how they're all sluts and, like, fucking hundreds of dudes. It's, like, weird and concerning. Again, considering there have literally been mass shooting events where people left manifestos professing these same beliefs, right? It's clear that this sort of ideology can lead people down extremist paths.
The owners called it quits. Mgtow.com seems to be the longest running as of right now. As for men obsessing over women and consuming daily doses of red pill content to keep their boners away, I would also suggest consuming adult content that can't really exist in real life, or content that's so rare that you'll never run into it. One guy and you discussed how his kryptonite was Brazilian women that pooped, pissed, and vomited on each other in a great big messy posse. I won't judge, but that's something you'll never run into in real life. If it floats your boat, or floats in your toilet, then who am I to judge? I made this video as a warning to guys thinking of going their own way.
Hey, I'm not gonna kink shame people, but that seems like a sanitation issue.
Philosophy Online. Remember to come back from time to time when you feel the urge to purge your nuts and crazy sluts. You might need a refresher to relieve some of that blue ball pressure. That's what most guys aren't even thinking about. Our biology is designed to get us to forget all the red flags and behavior that women present us with, if we're not thinking about it constantly. Even when we aren't, the temptation can be rather overwhelming. Women have always relied on the strategy of divide and conquer to chop off our metaphorical cocks. They want us to stop talking about women's negative behavior so we can start thinking about their bodies. They don't want...
What negative behavior? As a group. Genuinely. Like, all you do is accuse women of being sluts. That's like 90% of what you do. Which is hilarious. Because there are people who sleep with lots of people. Both men, women, and non-binary folk. It's fine. It's none of anyone's business who people sleep with. Who cares?
Want us to focus on the truth, only on the manufactured lies called their looks. If you want to see what they look like in real life, visit your local Amish community, and you'll see just how plain women really are. There would be no need to protect ourselves from highly sexualized women with bad attitudes if they couldn't hide behind high-priced cosmetics and plastic surgery. Women...
Oh no, women wearing makeup, it's all a ploy. All right, Jordan Peterson, calm down.
Are using technologies developed by men to control us. Yet men aren't allowed to use the internet, also a technology created by men to free ourselves from that control. As I've said recently, I think that if the left rises up in the West and causes chaos, then the response from the right will be to instill a traditionalist dictatorship, and I'm afraid that this subreddit and any channels talking about women will also be deleted by future authoritarian governments. That's going to be the part of the normalization process after the radical left has been taken care of. Does anyone else out there think that the powers...
I don't know if we watched a video on stream, but a while back this Sandman guy made a video where he's like, the radical left is so out of control. A fascist right-wing government is going to come and exterminate all the leftists. And then they're going to impose traditional family structures on us Mgtow folk. It's like legit bananas conspiracy theory shit.
That be are creating this political crisis so they can take control of society and take away freedom of speech. After all, if I were in power and I wanted to make sure that people didn't wake up to their own slavery, I would do everything I could to create a problem that will require removing that freedom of speech. On an aside, does anyone else out there think besides myself that the rioting out there is at least due in part to there being no sports in our society? Maybe that's why hockey and baseball are being brought back to keep people from having too much to think during the corona crisis.
What? No! The protests and riots going on are about police misconduct, not because you can't watch your sports game. What?
After all, people have always been controlled through bread and circuses, but more importantly through the almighty cooch. The cooch loses its control when it can't control information. It requires that you don't think too much before you dip your stick. Again, I'm worried that the political response to the left is the only thing that will be able to silence men talking about the true nature of females. Women's shaming language has proven that it can't do that right now. Women will probably also buy into that authoritarian government gladly that forces them towards traditionalism. Specifically...
What? What is this shit? You think Handmaid's Tale is gonna come true and women are gonna be like, oh yes, subjugate me, daddy? No, you fucking weirdo.
If it means they'll have control over the men that control society, even if it means losing some of their rights. If what I'm predicting happens, the TM will be happy as society becomes traditional again. I'm pretty sure he'll continue going his own way regardless of what society suggests that he does. The same with myself. But I think the only way that women can stop men from going their own way is for them to vote in maniacs ready to take away all our freedom of speech.
Dude, no one cares. No one's telling you not to go your own way. Go for it. Be single. I don't care. No one cares. It's the fact that you spend all your time obsessing over women. Constantly.
That's not sanctioned by the state and abolish the First Amendment. But in reality, the First Amendment needs to be amended to differentiate between religions and dangerous ideologies. For example, the radical left and radical Islam have caused America a lot of trouble over the past 20 years. Maybe the radicals shouldn't be seen as being religious, and they shouldn't be worthy of freedom of speech. Maybe they need to be exempt from that freedom of speech because they found a way to tiptoe around the Constitution to destroy the country.
What the fuck are you talking about?
The Constitution might need updating. I love the idea that freedom of speech and the best ideas always win.
So basically, you are afraid your freedom of speech is going to be taken away, so your answer is to take it away from other people.
But with cult-like ideologies, people are not persuaded by reason and rationality, but instead by emotional manipulation and wishful thinking. But I'm worried that the Constitution will be thrown out like some psycho mother throwing her baby out with the bathwater.
You just advocated for it.
Luckily, that baby will sprout wings and fly over a local slut walk and drop streams of diarrhea on male feminists. Sorry about my crazy and gross sense of humor. I'm allowed to say that I'm sorry too because I'm Canadian. The only way that men are going to go back to the blue pill world and stop obsessing over women without having red pill content and their own conclusions that marriage and relationships are a bad deal is if we go back to a society where men marry in their late teens and early 20s again, and are forced to stay in unholy matrimony for life. At an age where you haven't reached these conclusions independently, and where you haven't actually learned about female nature from the internet or your friends, that's my greatest fear, taking us back to a time before we learn the truth to supposedly save the human race from its own freedom. Think about it, if men were to go their own way, and women were free to become feminists, the reproductive rates will never be enough, and societies will keep shrinking and shrinking. But if men are kept
That's fine. We don't need a... It would be unsustainable to have a continually, exponentially growing population. Like, that's not a good thing. It's fine if population downsizes over time.
In the dark about female nature and tricked into marriage young enough to not know any better than it benefits civilization. Both ways suck for men. That's why we need to do something new instead of simply giving up and going back to traditionalism.
We're already overpopulated in many areas.
Thanks again to Sam Ning for your last donation, and thanks to the person that posted the topic, post on Reddit. Don't forget to smash the like button the way that women want you to smash them with your snake in their bush and have no reason why you're doing it. Bang the bell and check out the mystery link. Follow me on BitChute, Twitter, and Facebook to get tomorrow's video today. Subscribe to me on Minds and Gap to get the video for the day after tomorrow. This channel's been demonetized, so if you want to get back at corporate censors, demonetize them by taking away their ad dollars by installing the Brave browser. Link is down below. It also helps me out and you get cryptocurrency for viewing ads as well. You can also help me out through Subscribestar. Thanks for taking...
Oh, Sandman, Sandman, Sandman. The day that your channel gets banned cannot come soon enough. Hey, why don't you, if you haven't already, take a look at my YouTube channel and give it a subscribe. It's where I post all my streams and stream highlights. I got tons of playlists of different material, from Chud Watch to conspiracy debunks to Karens to sovereign citizens. It's a good time. Ask Compu with a bit says, Mr. Sandman, bring me a meme. Alright, I guess let's do this. The quartering video on Marvel is cancelled.
My name is Daniel Kibblesmith, and I am the writer of New Warriors #1.
Oh, God. This is about the stupid New Warriors thing that, like, everyone was pissed off about, on the left and the right.
Eureka! I've just been inspired. This is a superhero team of multi-ethnics known as the Fired Bunch.
What's going on, everyone? Jeremy here from the quartering end. I got you.
Is this just about the
New Warrior
snowflake ones? I don't care about this. I find it super cringe, though. Like, they have some non-binary superheroes, which is cool, but, like, literally one of them is named Snowflake and the other is named Safe Space. Like, it's bad call. Everyone found it ridiculous. People on the right and the left. Because it's, like, so hilariously off the mark. And this guy, whose name I think was Screen Time, he got hit with, like, an internet ray or something, and it gave him, like, internet powers, whatever that means. Let's do a grab bag from just random, you know, newer Mgtow videos. As Compu, each time we watch one of his videos, we lose 1/4 of our brain cells. True. Did he make another video on Brie Larson? He did. I don't feel like watching it today, though. I don't know why. I'm just really not in the mood for Jeremy's particular brand of bullshit. Mgtow catching more flies with honey than vinegar.
Hey everybody, it's Oki Mgtow reporting.
It was internet gas. That's even stupider. Great.
Again, on my way home here, had a rest day, so I'm just, just stop by the store, see what's going on in the world, see how the story that is, And I just wanted to talk about a few subjects and see how the sound goes through here. The thing about everything that's going on with relationships.
Most places it's illegal to drive with headphones on, by the way. Don't drive with headphones on. It impairs your ability to have situational awareness.
The red pill philosophy, the Mgtow philosophy. The thing that I think men go through the most, or at least in my opinion. I would like to hear everyone's comments below.
There's nothing funny about the tools of
share their feelings and experiences. It's just
what's with these people in cars? You can't even hear the guy? Okay, I'll find something else to watch then. Feminismo ex Mgtow.
Zoar mulher por ela ser mulher. Desrespeitá-la de forma... e eles mesmos têm vídeos.
Can't watch that one. I don't speak that language. Oh God. LGBTQ rights are a gateway to pedophilia. Oh, Jesus Christ. Do I want to do this? Do I want to deal with this idiot? It's only 2 minutes. Fuck it. Let's do it. So this idiot says LGBTQ rights are a gateway to pedophilia. They're not.
LGBT rights are a gateway to pedophilia.
No. No, they're not. Most pedophiles are straight dudes. That's because most pedophiles are dudes, at least statistically, as from what we've seen. Or at least more likely to act on their pedophilia. And because there are more straight people than gay people. Pretty simple.
Now, this is a controversial topic for a controversial channel. Everything controversial.
It's controversial because it's bullshit, and it's basically blaming pedophilia on a group of people who are already incredibly vulnerable, and only very recently, under the color of the law, have been allowed to have the same rights as straight people, so pretty fucked up.
Keep things clean, cut, raw. Before you go and say LGBT rights, I want it to be known. LGBTQ people.
Oh, did he turn the like-dislike ratio off? Jesus Christ. Here's a link to this video if you'd like to leave this gentleman a comment. By the way.
People have all of the rights normal people have. Nobody says, hey, you...
Calling non-LGBT people normal. Very nice. Cotton Candy 903, why do people come to the conclusion that because I have an interest in other women that I want to touch kids? I have no idea. No idea.
You can't come in here. I need to know your sexual preference first. Or hey, you can't vote. I need to know your sexual preference first. They now have the right to marry.
Yeah, in the United States, Obergefell v. Hodges happened in 2015, so for about 5 years, gay marriage has been legal in the 50 states. Only recently did the Supreme Court rule that LGBT people cannot be discriminated against in terms of employment.
Marriage, by definition, textbook definition, can only happen between male and female.
Let's take a look at the current definition. Marriage definition. And you know, the thing is that's fun. Oh, marriage definition. Merriam-Webster. A state of being united as spouses in a consensual and contractual relationship, recognized by law. The mutual relation of married persons, wedlock, the institution whereby individuals are joined in marriage, an act of marrying or the right by which the married status is affected, especially, so yeah, this doesn't even have gender in the description, so I'm actually curious where you're getting that definition. I thought it said Merriam-Webster. Did you specifically go out of your way to try and find an older Merriam-Webster page? Because here's the fun thing about definitions of words. People get to define them. So I'm sure if I looked at, you know, a dictionary from years ago, it probably says marriage, you know, a contractual union between a man and a woman, whatever. That's not the case anymore. People of the same sex, people of the same gender, can get married to one another now. It's a good thing. People get to define how words work.
A marriage between two dudes or two women isn't even considered a marriage. It
literally is. In the law, yes it is. We had a whole Supreme Court case over it in 2015. So this isn't just kind of a fucked up thing to say, which it absolutely is. It's also just factually wrong. Just factually wrong. Noodles Lolcat, the culprit is probably Inspect Element.
is something else now.
Oh, you think he changed it intentionally? That'd be pretty fucking funny.
Gays are receiving reparation.
This dude has 150 subs. He's low-hanging fruit. Sometimes the fruit lowest to the ground is taste the sweetest. Cotton Candy 903, there was a time when the definition of human only included white people. True. Definitions change all the time.
For not being able to marry beforehand. The liberals aren't pushing for equal rights. They're pushing for...
Oh no! Equal rights! The horror! Remember all those times in human history where we expanded human rights and we regretted it? Oh, you can't think of any time that's happened? Because it's never happened? That's weird.
For more privileges. People who are part of the LGBTQ community run the world.
What? That'd be fun. I'll be part of the LGBT mafia. I don't even know who these are pictures of, but they're old white dudes. I don't think they're gay, to my knowledge.
Some of the richest people on the planet are gay. People who own...
Like who? Let's take a look. Let's for fun. This guy's obviously wrong, but let's take a look. I'm sure there's some rich gay people. Richest LGBT people. LGBT billionaires. Let's see. Giorgio Armani. Giorgio Armani. He is bisexual. David Geffen, who's gay. Stein Eric Hagen, bisexual. Peter Thiel, gay. Jennifer Pritzker, transgender. Oh, hey, there you go. Domingo Dulce, gay. We got another gay person, lesbian, gay. That's a shame. I was hoping I'd be the first transgender billionaire. Joke. Now let's see. So this list has 11 people. Let's see a list of billionaires. How many billionaires are there in the world? According to Forbes, as of March 18th, 2020, there were 2,095 billionaires. So 2,095. Let's see. Uh, 2,095. So, oh god. I think, if I'm having this correctly, 0.525% of billionaires are in the LGBTQ community. Which is lower than the average in the population. It's between 1 to 5, and I've seen some even say as high as 10%. But let's say 1 to 5. 1 to 5%. So LGBT individuals are underrepresented in the world's ruling class. Yet here we are. This guy bitching about it. Hey, if we want to eat the rich and, you know, make sure billionaires are paying their fair share of taxes to the extent that they are no longer billionaires, I'm on board. Straight, gay, bi, trans, all of them. Awesome. But blaming billionaires on LGBT people, not only really fucked up, but again, just factually incorrect.
Billion-dollar oil industries are gay. But on top of that, there are pedophiles. But this new movement...
Who are pedophiles?
Where you could be transsexual, and they want to...
Transgender.
Rewrite science, and rewrite our science books, and tell everybody illogical, unfactual information saying that a man can be a woman, a woman can be a man.
I don't think you understand being transgender. Maybe you should leave it to actual scientists and people who write textbooks instead of, you know, random guy who posts a YouTube video and writes things on a whiteboard behind him. You're not exactly an authority, are you?
Now they're saying that people could be trans age. If someone could be trans age, then you could be trans anything.
I've literally heard no one ever claim that they're trans-aged. Never heard a single person do it. You might be able to Google it and find someone somewhere who said it, but it's not a thing people are advocating for.
You could be a transformer. You could be trans race.
Can I be a transformer? Because then I want to be like Bumblebee. I want to turn into a Camaro.
People shouldn't get flat for being trans race. You can be trans age or trans.
Again, Rachel Dolezal is not the same thing as someone who's transgender.
Sexual. So now we're gonna go into a world where grown men can marry legally little boys.
No. You didn't even, like, this was worse than I thought it was gonna be. I assumed it was going to be full of misinformation, which it was, and have flawed A to B to C. But there wasn't even an A to B to C here. You're just like, I don't like these things, therefore pedophilia is going to be legal. No, it's not. What are you talking about? Maybe go back to the drawing board on your, video. All of it.
Because they identify as little girls. That
What? No.
is the exact opposite of what conservative is. And I'm just here to point it out. Obviously, my opinion on it is that it's sick. It's sickening. Anyway, guys, leave your comments below. Tell me what you think about it.
Leave the comments below. Don't mind if we do. Again, here's the video if you'd like to leave a comment. He did ask for comments, so let him know how things are. Let me see if anyone already added a comment. Oh, did he hide a comment? How do you spell Shirley? I can't do the spelling. Is it like Surly? I'm gonna say certainly. Shirley with an E. That's where I was fucking up. Thanks, everyone. Oh, shit. Didn't even post. Says he's gonna let comments in and then, oh, there we go. Good job, everyone. What else can we look at?
There's nothing funny about the tools of capitalism.
Jeffrey Patron with 95 bits. Boop! Thanks so much. Soily1 has a link. Women, know your limits. Alright, let's take a look at this.
An ordinary...
Did he delete it already? What a hypocrite.
Dinner party. The sort of occasion we all enjoy. The men are
oh, it's like a parody thing.
Exchanging witty stories. And look at the women. Aren't they pretty? Look at the way they laugh. They're delightful. But now the conversation turns to more serious matters.
I wonder if the government should return to the gold standard.
I think it should.
Good. Then we're all agreed.
But oh dear, what's this? One of the women is about to embarrass us all.
I think the government should stay off the gold standard so that the pound can reach a level that will keep our exports competitive.
The lady has foolishly attempted to join the conversation with a wild and dangerous opinion of her own. What half-baked drivel. See how the men look at her with utter contempt.
Daphne, we're going home.
Women, know your limits.
Funny.
Look at the effect of education on a man and a woman's mind. Education passes into the mind of a man. See how the information is evenly and tidily stored. Now see the same thing on a woman. At first we see a similar result. But now look, still at a reasonably low level of education, her brain suddenly overloads. She cannot take in complicated information. She becomes frantically and absurdly deranged. Look at these venomous harridans. They went to university. Hard to believe they're all under 25. Yes, overeducation leads to ugliness, premature aging, and beard growth. Now let's see the proper way.
Good. So we're all agreed. We should return to the gold standard.
Oh, I don't know anything about the gold standard, I'm afraid, but I do love little kittens. They're so soft and furry.
What a delightful thought, you dear, sweet, fragile little
Yeah, it's a parody. Of course it's a parody. You not hear the laugh track?
Know your limits. In thought, be plain and simple, and let your natural sweetness shine through.
That's a link.
Red Pill Fred, you was so right, my man. We got people hanging out, man. You was right, my brother.
Why are you at a mall during a pandemic?
Damn, Mgtow is closing the malls, man. Shit crazy.
It's because of COVID, you idiot. Are you fucking serious? Mgtow's closing the mall down. Or global pandemic. You know, one of the two.
Hell. Empty, boy. Diamond Ring Company. Empty. Empty, boy.
Jesus. These people, the delusions of grandeur. Very strange. My comment got deleted already. What a shock. It's almost like he's a hypocrite and a snowflake. Just saying. I don't know what to watch.
There's nothing funny about the tools of capitalism.
Django Fett, thanks for the 100 bits. Have I seen Jeff's Cal Jam video? Some people are saying PragerU. Let me see what PragerU's got going on.
There's nothing funny about the tools of capitalism.
MW1642, thanks for gifting a sub. Make men masculine again. Sure, fine. Let's do this one, I guess. Oh, boy.
Rape, murder, war. They all have one thing in common. Men.
What the fuck?
Aggression, violence, ambition unchecked by conscience. All the stuff of toxic masculinity, right?
I mean, toxic masculinity is when you use your masculinity to be toxic towards someone. Like, if somehow you committing sexual assault is tied to your idea of what makes you a man, then that would be toxic masculinity. But just being a man and doing bad things is not what toxic masculinity means.
And the solution is obvious. Make men less toxic. Make men less masculine. Make men more like women.
No, that's not what toxic masculinity means. It means stop being toxic, not stop being masculine. If the only things you view as masculine are the negative aspects of men, then you have a very low opinion of men.
But I'm here to tell you that that way of thinking is not only wrong, it's dangerous. Here's why. When you try to make men more like women,
No one's telling you to make men more like women. This is a complete straw man.
You don't get less.
Or I guess a straw woman.
Toxic masculinity. You get more. Why? Because bad men don't become good when they stop being men. They become good when they stop being bad.
Yep. Which is what toxic masculinity and calling it out is meant to do. Trying to get people to stop bad behaviors, not stopping them from being masculine. It's stop using their masculinity as an excuse for said bad behavior.
Aggression, violence, and unbridled ambition can't be eliminated from the male psyche.
Aggression, violence, and unbridled ambition. Aggression and violence, you think, are fundamental to what makes a man a man? Again, you have a very low opinion of men.
They can only be harnessed. And when they are harnessed, they are tools for good, not for harm. The same masculine traits that bring destruction also defeat tyranny.
No one tell Japan about the nuclear bombs. Oh boy.
The traits that foster greed also build economies. The traits that drive men to take foolish risks also drive men to take heroic risks.
There are no female firefighters. You heard it here first.
The answer to toxic masculinity isn't less masculinity.
No one said it was. You fucking idiots. This is a complete straw man. No one said the bad part of toxic masculinity was the masculinity. It's the toxicity. Remove the toxicity, and you still have a man who is masculine if they'd like to. They aren't using their masculinity to be toxic towards themselves and others. Fucking straw man.
It's better masculinity. And we know what that looks like. It's a young man opening the door for a girl on their first date. It's a father working long hours to provide for his family. It's a soldier risking his life to defend his country.
I'm gonna send these soldiers to Iraq to protect our oil interests. That'll protect the country.
The growing problem in today's society isn't that men are too masculine. It's that they're not masculine enough.
It has nothing to do with how masculine someone is. It has to do with their toxicity. Again, complete misrepresentation of what anyone is saying. Noodles Lolcat says Prager's graphs are half the fun of their insane videos. The main beauty of the graph at 133 is that there is a pie chart. So if more men become less masculine, the problem goes down.
When men embrace their masculinity in a way that is healthy and productive, they are leaders, warriors, and heroes.
Great! You're agreeing with people who talk about toxic masculinity. Yeah. Be masculine in ways that are good and not toxic. You get it. Great. You're completely misrepresenting these things, but like, yeah, great.
When they deny their masculinity, they run away from responsibilities.
No one's asking men to deny their masculinity. No one cares. If you want to be masculine, be masculine.
Leaving destruction and despair in their wake. The consequences can be seen everywhere. 1 in 4 fathers now lives apart from his children. And children who grow up without a dad are generally more depressed than their peers who have a mother and a father. They are at far greater risk for incarceration, teen pregnancy, and poverty. 71% of high school dropouts are fatherless. Of all the...
That we could get into, and how the inner cities have been devastated by America's economic policies and the... how do I put this? The results of things like slavery and Jim Crow, and the over-policing of the inner cities. We could talk about that.
Rocks upon which we build our lives, family is the most important. And we are called to recognize and honor how critical every father is to that foundation. That was said by then Senator Barack Obama in 2008. If we are honest with ourselves, he went on, we'll admit that too many fathers are missing from too many lives and too many homes.
Many of which are a result of the war on drugs, which led to tons of arrest for non-violent drug offenses. And ripped families apart. Good job, America. You're nailing it.
As much as we try to deny the need for real masculine strength in society, there's no denying its necessity. Healthy families and strong communities depend on the leadership and bravery of good men.
Okay, but you could have a community that has no men and it would be fine, right? Like, I agree. You can be a great man and be masculine and not be toxic and be beneficial to yourself and your community. That's great. But, like, women can also be beneficial to their communities, right? You don't necessarily need one or the other or both. Just do the best with what you got and who you are, and that's awesome.
Yet, the current trend is to feminize young men in the hopes of...
No, it's not. Source? I see you made a little jagged line that's going upward here that says masculine and goes up towards feminine. But there are no numbers. There are no sources. This is just a picture you drew. Like, what? This has nothing to do with reality. If we just say a thing and make something that looks like a graph, then that's reality, right?
Of achieving some utopian notion of equality and peace. And it starts at the earliest ages. In the school classroom, boys are invariably the problem.
Because boys, and this has nothing to do with the fact that they are boys, but in my experience, boys, when they're raised at home with their sisters, or even if they're on their own, are allowed to get away with more than their female counterparts. If a boy gets into fights and starts making a ruckus and a mess and everything, people just go, boys will be boys. But if a little girl does the same thing, they're disciplined and told to behave, right? So it's not that I think girls actually mature quicker than boys. It's that society pushes girls to mature much more than it does with its young men. For a small cleanse, Compu has a link.
This is the...
On the playground, aggressive games like dodgeball have long been banished.
I think that more has to do with liability issues with schools.
We tell young men that their intrinsic desire to compete is wrong.
No. And why are you saying that competitiveness is only a male thing? There are tons of sports in all schools, both male and female. Like, what? Everyone can be competitive. I'm not. But, like, a lot of people are, regardless of their gender.
Everybody gets a trophy. Don't run up the score. This anti-male tilt continues on through higher education.
What does participation trophies have to do with masculinity? Like, someone still got a trophy that says first place, right? Even so, what does that have to do with masculinity versus femininity? Like, what?
And into the workplace. It has created millions of tentative men, unhappy women, and confused boys and girls. Here's a secret that every woman knows. Women want real men.
Define real men. What do you mean by that? That means nothing. If you identify as a man, good news! You're a man. You are a real man. Whether you're trans or cis or whatever. Stop trying to, like, put this measuring stick up to people. This is what we're talking about when we talk about toxic masculinity. As Compu says, because if people that aren't the best get a reward, then how can masculinity toxically bury them?
Men they can count on and, yes, look up to. No amount of feminist theory will change that. I don't know any woman at any age who is attracted to a passive man who looks to her to be his provider, protector, and leader.
Okay, you work with PragerU, you probably know mostly conservative women who have expectations that conform to conservative gender roles. There are plenty of women who would not only be fine with, but prefer to take a leadership role in a relationship. I think that's weird also. I think it makes sense for people to be equitable in a relationship, but some people like to, like, take control and other people like to, you know, be more submissive, and that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. But I wouldn't take your anecdote, lady who's working for PragerU, as any sort of authority on what all women want. This is like when Mgtows talk about, like, all women are sluts. Like, how about we don't try and paint all 4 billion women on this planet with the same exact brush, shall we?
Every woman I know wants a strong, responsible man. That's not a consequence of a social construct or cultural pressure.
I think it has to do with more consequentialism. You want to be with a partner who's responsible and able to get through the hardships of life, regardless of gender.
It's innate. The devaluation of masculinity
biological essentialism. Lovely.
Won't end well because feminine passive
True, Baha. True.
men don't stop evil. Passive men don't defend, protect, or provide. Passive men don't lead.
Hear that, twinks? PragerU doesn't want you.
Men don't do the things we have always needed men to do for society to thrive. In his book, The Abolition of Man, English social philosopher C.S. Lewis writes about this problem. He describes the tension between cerebral man and visceral man. By his intellect, Lewis explains, man is mere spirit, and by his appetite, mere animal. We need both. Take away one, and you're left with a man who's either weak or wicked.
Look, C.S. Lewis, not someone I would cite. Like, he's not a bad guy or anything. He just, you know, he's quite religious, pretty conservative. Maybe don't assume that his waxing philosophical about gender identity is going to be the end-all be-all.
And in a world of wickedness, weak men are nothing more than enablers of wicked men. Rape, murder, war.
There's nothing funny
They all
about
have
the tools of capitalism.
Winter O'Hare, thanks for your 3-month subscription streak.
two things in common. Bad men who do the raping, murdering, and warring, and weak men who won't stop them.
How about we just blame rape and war on the people who commit them, right? Hey, great.
We need good men who will. It's not masculinity that's toxic. It's the lack of it.
Hey, dumbass. No one said in toxic masculinity that the masculinity part was the toxic part. It's using your masculinity as an excuse to participate in toxic behaviors. That's what that word means. Maybe, again, take 5 seconds to Google a phrase before you act like you know what it means. And boy, this is off topic. This is a complete ad hom and has nothing to do with the validity of the ridiculous statements that have been made. But I don't think I've seen a younger person have this much care and energy. Look at this woman. God, it looks like she's looking into my soul and asking to speak to the manager of my body.
I'm Ali Stuckey for Prager University. Thank you for watching this video. To help keep PragerU videos free, please consider making a tax.
Just like toxic gas doesn't mean all gases are toxic. Yeah, it's a good explanation.
Deductible donation.
Oh boy. Alright, we've been going for 3 hours. That might be it for today. I kind of want to go play Ghosts of Tsushima. Let me see if I can raid someone. What's the Surfs doing? What's Lance up to?
America. In an infamous incident last month during the Chinese New Year break, a gala show on the
What's David Packman up
Until
to?
you've calculated, otherwise you're sacrificing a piece and you could be lost.
Okay, so I take with
Yeah.
the rook, the pawn takes back. Do I immediately take back with the queen with check? Then I guess the only real move would be to block with the queen, which I would
Thank you
take with the pawn.
to Ask
Actually, no,
Compute
I would
with a
take
bit.
with the queen, and that's
Yes,
it.
What about
Yeah.
my
You take
cleanse
the
vid?
queen,
It's
you
short.
take the
Sure,
queen.
we can do a cleanse vid real quick.
Oh, here we go. All right, so this is my mom right here. Gonna try.
Lockpicking lawyer, and about a year ago, I showed you my absolute favorite cylinder, this well-used, albeit somewhat short cock. Now, if you'd like to see more of my cock, I'll leave a link to that year-old video in the description below. But today is all about the favorite of Mrs. Lockpicking lawyer, and while she does like my cock, it is not her favorite. Her favorite is one that she actually had even before I knew her, though it never got any use until after we met. At least that's what she tells me. If you saw the title to this video, then you know that it is, of course, her beaver. Now, I have been avidly interested in beavers since I was a teenager, but over the years, no two beavers that I've ever seen have been exactly alike. So, let's take a closer look at my wife's beaver. The most obvious feature is the large opening in the center, but if we take a closer look, we'll see something that a lot of guys miss. There's a small hood-shaped feature at the 12 o'clock position. If you're going to manipulate a beaver, you're going to have to give that area special attention. Another notable property is the wrinkled surface all around the main opening. Not all beavers have that. In fact, I have another beaver that I keep on the side. My wife doesn't know about this one, but let's take a look at it. You'll see that this one is perfectly smooth on the outside. That's actually pretty common on the newer beavers. So let's hide this one away and then see what it takes to get into my wife's. Now from experience, I can tell you that a generous squirt of lube will make this process go much easier. So let's do that now. And we're going to work that in to get it very slick on the inside. Okay, now that it's well lubricated, I'm going to take out my tool. Now it looks a little bit on the big side. In fact, when my wife first saw it, she didn't think it would fit. But after that squirt of lube we gave it earlier, it should slip right in. But before I show you that, a word about technique. I'm going to be using a firm thrusting motion together with a small twist. Not everyone does it that way, but I find that technique very effective. Okay, let's get started. So, as you can see, it is disappointingly fast and easy to get into my wife's beaver. In any case, that's all I have for you today. If you do have any questions or comments about this, please put them below. If you like this video and would like to see more like it, please subscribe and have a great April 1st.
Funny. Alright, fuck it. We're gonna raid the serfs. Tell Lance I said hi. I'll probably listen in, but I gotta edit this down, so. So thanks everyone. I hope you have a good evening. I'll be back tomorrow for more, I don't know what I'll do, maybe a cringe stream tomorrow, so hope to see you guys then. Chat is valid. Have a wonderful evening.